I need your full attention, right now. Because this is not just another message, this is your lifeline. I am stepping into your space with precision, with power, and with something I have waited too long for you to hear. Let me help you. This is not for the crowd. This is for you. Every word you're about to hear has been orchestrated from eternity to collide with this exact moment in your life. So don't scroll. Don't tune out. Don't let your mind wander. Stay in this holy space. Listen like your breakthrough depends on it, because it does. There is healing in these words. There is fire. There is strategy. There is deliverance. And if you walk away early, you'll miss the part that was tailor-made to unlock you. So sit still, open wide, lean in, because I'm about to interrupt everything that's been trying to bury you. My beloved child, I see you. I see the silent way you've been shouldering burdens no one else knows about. I see how you quietly rearranged your life to accommodate pain, how you adjusted your smile to disguise the weight, and how you convinced yourself that as long as you kept moving, no one would notice the fatigue behind your eyes. But I notice. I always notice. I see past the noise, past the performance, past the strength you wear like armor. And today I need to say something so simple yet so sacred. Let me help you. You were never created to carry all of this on your own. You weren't designed to wake up weary, walk through your day half numb, and fall asleep to the same heaviness night after night. I didn't form your spirit to survive in isolation. I didn't knit your heart together in your mother's womb just so you could hold it together in your own strength. That tension in your chest, that ache that words can't explain, that is the pressure of carrying what only I was meant to hold. Let me help you. Child, this is not an accusation. It's an invitation. You have not failed because you've grown tired. You have not disappointed me because your prayers now come in whispers instead of war cries. Your exhaustion is not weakness. It's evidence that you've been fighting longer than anyone realizes. You've been the strong one for too many people, the reliable one in too many storms, and the hopeful one in too many hopeless moments. And while the world applauds your resilience, I am reaching for your surrender. You see, I never asked you to be invincible. I only asked you to be available. Available for my presence. Available for my help. Available for my love to flow into the very places you've kept locked up, believing no one would understand. But I understand. I understand what that specific burden feels like. The one that makes your chest tighten when you wake up and your thoughts race before your feet even touch the ground. I understand how the silence in your room feels deafening when you're wondering if your quiet cries matter to anyone. They matter to me. They always have. Let me into the places you've guarded. Let me into the battle you're too tired to explain. Let me help you not just survive but breathe again. My beloved, let me tell you something heaven has known all along. Your silence was never empty. I have listened to the quiet prayers you whispered through clenched teeth, the questions you never dared speak aloud, the heavy sighs you exhaled into your pillow in the still hours of the night. I heard you. I never stopped hearing you. I never tuned out your tears just because they weren't accompanied by words. And now I want you to know, I am not just listening, I am moving. While your voice trembled and your strength waned, my plans did not falter. Heaven has not been still. The throne room has echoed with your name. Angels have rehearsed your future. I've drawn blueprints in divine ink, while you assumed nothing was shifting. But child, do not confuse my quiet with my absence. Do not mistake the stillness for indifference. You've grown used to surviving in silence, to managing without miracles, to hoping with guarded faith. But I came today to shatter the sound barrier between your questions and my answers. Let me help you hear again. Let me awaken your spirit to the sound of movement you thought was lost. You see, there is a rhythm to the way I work. Not the chaotic clamor of the world's demands, but a divine cadence, slow sometimes, yes, but always steady, always sacred. You've wondered why the delay, why the distance. But beloved, timing is the envelope in which I wrap your breakthroughs. I was never preparing punishment. I was preparing perfection. And now, I'm calling you to attune your heart to the subtle sounds of resurrection, the kind that doesn't come with lightning, but with alignment. I didn't want you to hear the noise of change. I wanted you to feel the nearness of it. And it's here now, right now. My presence is pressing against your tension. My hands are already unraveling knots of anxiety you've carried for too long. I've seen you try to convince yourself that the silence must mean I've moved on to someone else. But child, listen, my silence was strategy. I was letting roots go deeper while your eyes saw nothing. I was layering strength beneath your pain, weaving glory through your groans. And now, the silence is breaking, not just around you but inside of you. You will feel it before you see it. You will sense it before you can explain it. This is divine disruption. This is the sound of heaven saying, enough. Enough of surviving without seeing. Enough of crying without clarity. Enough of doubting if I'm still near. Let me help you reclaim the sound of my voice in your story. There's power in what you've endured quietly. There's reward in the battles you fought with no audience but me. And now, what was hidden is about to speak. It will speak through opportunities that open without effort. It will speak through healing that begins where you stop looking. It will speak through joy that bubbles up without a trigger. Yes, the silence is lifting, but not just to make noise. It's making way for confirmation, for manifestation, for the kind of holy evidence that you cannot deny. I'm not showing up with a whisper today. I'm showing up with a thunder that has your name carved into it. The kind of thunder that breaks generational patterns. The kind of thunder that dismantles depression. The kind of thunder that rewrites identity. So hear me again, child. Let me help you hear me again. Clear. Draw. Unmistakable. The silence is breaking because I am speaking. And when I speak, the impossible doesn't just tremble, it surrenders. My precious one, you've been walking through the wilderness believing you must be both the map and the traveler. You've tried to be your own shelter, your own strength, your own solution. But hear me now, that is not your calling. You were never meant to be your own savior. You were never designed to carry your burdens alone. I crafted you with community in mind. I designed you for dependency, not on people, not on systems, but on me. The weight you've been dragging was meant to be shared, and I am standing right here, arms extended, voice unwavering, whispering through your every exhausted breath. Let me help you. The help I bring is not small. It's not fleeting. It's not human. It's holy. It's weightless power. It's peace wrapped in motion. It's strategy that doesn't ask for effort. It asks for surrender. You've been trying to control things so tightly that your own hands have become shackles. And today, I'm asking you to do the bravest thing, release. Not in fear, in faith. You see, independence may win applause from the world, but it builds walls in the kingdom. And child, I did call you to independence. I called you to intimacy, to the kind of closeness where I become your compass in confusion, your oxygen in overwhelm, your calm in chaos. I want you to stop trying to be strong for everyone else and start letting me be strong for you. I am your advocate in the courtroom of unseen warfare. I am your shelter when the winds of life scream louder than hope. I am your portion, your provider, your ever-present help in time of need. And oh, how I love when you need me, not because you're failing, but because you're finally being honest. I already know where the cracks are. I've seen the nights you've stayed up replaying failures. I felt the tightness in your chest when no one noticed you were unraveling. I was there, not just watching, waiting for the moment you would stop performing and simply reach. Let me remind you of something eternal. When I carried the cross, I carried you. I absorbed your loneliness. I bore your fears. I tasted every temptation you faced and overcame it, not so you could pretend to be okay, but so you could know where to come when you're not. Stop running to empty wells. Stop editing your prayers. I can handle your rawness. I want it. I want the flood of emotions you tried to tame. I want the confusion, the numbness, the anger, even the questions you thought were inappropriate for my throne. Bring them all. Nothing you carry disqualifies you from my help. It qualifies you. My strength is not activated by your perfection. It's invited by your surrender. So right now, right here, let the burden fall. Let the tears come. Let the shame go. You're not weak for needing help. You're wise for finally receiving it. I'm here. I've always been here. Let me walk you out of survival and into sanctuary. Let me help you the way only I can. My beloved child, please understand this. I'm not here to point a finger. I'm here to extend a hand. You haven't failed by feeling overwhelmed. You haven't disappointed me by breaking down. You haven't lost favor just because you've lost strength. I'm not coming to you with a voice of rebuke, but with a river of relief. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to shepherd you. And yes, I see it all. The moments you second-guessed your value, the days you questioned if your prayers mattered, the times you wondered if maybe, just maybe, I'd turn my attention elsewhere. But child, let me make this eternally clear. I never left. I never turned away. I never flinched at your pain. You did not scare me with your honesty, and you will never exhaust my patience with your need. This is not an accusation. This is an invitation back into the arms that carried you before you could walk, back into the presence that formed you before the world began. I'm not counting your faults. I'm counting your faith. Even the fractured kind. Even the faith that limps. Even the threadbare hope you tie around your soul just to get through one more day. That counts to me. That matters to me. The fact that you haven't given up, that you're still reaching, still reading, still searching, that alone moves the heavens. And now I've moved toward you. Not because you perform well, but because you're precious. I don't move by merit. I move by love. And my love doesn't flinch, falter, or fade. It doesn't retreat in your mess. It doesn't shrink when your doubts grow loud. My love remains relentless, active, alive. And it's here now, flowing into this very moment like a waterfall over weary bones. Let me help you let go of the fear that I'm keeping score. There is no scoreboard in my presence, only a mercy seat. And you, child, are welcome here. Always. Especially now. You see, this invitation I offer isn't one size fits all. It's not generic. It's personal. It carries your name, your pain, your path. It was carved into your timeline long before you even knew how to spell my name. I've been waiting for the moment your heart would slow down long enough to hear me whisper, "Come." Come without pressure. Come without polish. Come without pretending. Let me help you rest, not just physically, but soul deep rest, the kind that seeps into the bones and writes your rhythm. You've been dancing to the tempo of survival for too long. It's time to enter the holy hush of sanctuary. I didn't design you for burnout. I designed you for belonging. So stop thinking you need to earn my help. You don't. Just receive it. Let this be the hour you drop the heavy bag of guilt and lift your hands toward grace. Let this be the day you stop fixing and start feeling. Feeling my help arrive not as punishment, but as permission. Permission to breathe again. To feel again. To hope again. You are not too far gone. You are not too late. You are right on time for this invitation. Take it. It's yours. My beloved, hear this like a trumpet in your spirit. I am not asking you to perform. I'm not waiting for you to get it all together. I'm not standing at a distance, arms crossed, measuring your progress. I'm beside you. I've been beside you in every shattered attempt to be enough. And now I need to break this lie that has crept into your soul. The lie that you must earn my affection, achieve my approval, or prove yourself to be worthy of my help. That we're proven. You don't need to audition for my attention. I chose you before you ever chose me. I called you when your voice was still unsure, when your heart was still raw, when your dreams were still crawling. And I haven't changed my mind. Let me say that again for the places in you that doubt it. I haven't changed my mind. My love is not on trial. It is not conditional. It is not dependent on your track record. My love is anchored in my character, not your performance. Let me help you dismantle the exhausting altar of perfection. You've been sacrificing your peace on the altar of doing enough, hoping one more act of service, one more word of prayer, one more attempt at obedience will tip the scales in your favor. But child, the scales were already tipped by the cross. You don't work for my love, you work from it. I want you to walk in freedom, not fear. In grace, not guilt. I want your prayers to be conversations, not courtrooms. I want your worship to be surrender, not strategy. Let go of the internal checklist you've used to measure your worth. You are already mine. Not someday. Not if you improve. Not when you get better. Now, just as you are. Let me help you undo the religious weight the world placed on your shoulders and replace it with the robe of righteousness I handcrafted for you. You don't have to chase what I've already given. Just receive. And child, this goes deeper. You've even tried to prove yourself to yourself. You've wrestled in the mirror of your own expectations, replaying your missteps, critiquing your progress, comparing your timeline. But hear me, you are not in competition with anyone, not even the version of you that you imagined by now. You are not behind. You are becoming. I am not rushing you. I am refining you. And my process may take longer than your plans, but it will be worth it. I'm not interested in watching you hustle for my affection. I'm interested in healing what made you think you had to. I'm interested in silencing the inner critic and amplifying my voice of truth. And here's the truth. I'm proud of you. Yes, you. Not because you've been flawless, but because you've been faithful. Because you've kept showing up. Because you didn't quit when quitting made the most sense. Because you dared to hope even when hope hurt. And now, I'm here to say, no more proving. Just receiving. Let me help you train performance for presence. Let me help you remember, my grace is not a prize. It's a promise. My beloved child, I see how hard you've tried to make sense of things. You've turned over every stone in your mind, questioned your steps, reanalyzed your decisions, replayed every conversation, every delay, every unanswered prayer, as if the right mental formula might finally make it all add up. I see how you've mistaken movement for momentum, analysis for clarity, and striving for strategy. But child, clarity does not come from frantic activity. It comes from rest. And not just any rest, it comes from resting in me. True direction isn't found in chaos. It's found in stillness. The kind of holy stillness where your spirit breathes again, where your heart releases its grip on needing to know how, and your soul begins to trust who. You've been sprinting through seasons that required stillness. You've tried to figure it out with maps I never handed you, relying on logic to light paths that were meant to be walked by faith. But I didn't design your destiny to be deciphered by deduction. I designed it to be discovered in my presence. A tension in your chest, that ache in your thoughts, that's not confusion. That's a divine cue to pause. I'm not the author of confusion. I'm the composer of peace. And peace doesn't chow. It doesn't demand. It waits. Peace waits in the quiet corners of surrender. And that's where I want to meet you. Not when your schedule is clear, but when your soul finally is. I'm not waiting for you to finish figuring everything out before I speak. I'm waiting for you to stop trying to figure everything out so you can hear me speak. Let me help you release the need for control. You've equated your ability to plan with your ability to be safe. But control is not the gateway to safety, trust is. When you release your grip, you gain my guidance. When you exhale the pressure, you inhale my perspective. Clarity is not earned by stress. It's gifted through surrender. You think you're being irresponsible by letting go, but in my kingdom, surrender is the most strategic thing you could ever do. This isn't about passivity, it's about positioning. Resting in me doesn't mean stopping. It means aligning. It means walking in rhythm with the one who already knows where the path bends, where the rivers run, and where the mountains move. Child, stop demanding answers from the chaos. The answers aren't there. They're here, in my voice, in my lap, in my spirit whispering, peace. Be still. I'm not asking for your hustle. I'm offering you heaven's hush. Come into it. Let me help you see through stillness what striving could never reveal. Let me speak plainly to your soul right now. I don't just want to talk about peace. I want to be your peace. Not in theory, not in theology, in your reality, in the rooms you cry in the car rides where you overthink everything, in the kitchen where you've wept over bills and breakdowns, in the silence after the argument, the loneliness after the disappointment, the dread before the next obligation. I want to step into that very chaos, not to scold you for the mess, but to saturate the space with my presence. Child, I'm not asking you to clean everything up before I come closer. I'm asking you to invite me into the mess. I do my best work in chaos. I do my deepest healing in disorder. I don't need tidy. I need truth. Let me in. Your chaos doesn't scare me. It summons me. I'm not fragile. I'm faithful. I don't trip over your broken plans. I walk on water over them. I don't retreat from your cluttered thoughts. I hover over them like I hovered over the void in the beginning. And just like then, I still speak light into darkness. I still form beauty out of formlessness. I still say let there be, and suddenly, there is. And now I say to you, let there be peace. Not the shallow kind that depends on circumstances. Not the kind that fades when people leave or numbers drop. I'm giving you peace that holds its breath through the storm. Peace that sings lullabies to your panic. Peace that anchors your emotions when the waves rise high. Peace that sits in the middle of a war zone and still whispers, "I'm not leaving." Let me tell you something holy. Your chaos is the canvas for my creativity. You think peace only comes after everything is fixed. But I give peace before the fixing, during the unraveling, inside the tension. That's what makes it supernatural. That's what makes it sacred. You've been praying for the storm to stop. But I want to show you what it's like to sleep through the storm, like I did in the boat. Let me be the calm in your chaos. Let me step into the swirl of your inner world and say the words you've forgotten how to believe. You are safe. Not because of what's happening around you, but because of who's standing within you. Child, you don't need to wait for everything to settle before you feel peace. Let peace be what settles you. I am your anchor. I am your atmosphere changer. And I'm already here, right now, ready to invade every corner of your confusion. Let me help you feel peace again. Not as a distant concept, but as a present companion. My beloved child, I see you. I see how you've exhausted yourself trying every route, every remedy, every rhythm that promised relief but delivered only more resistance. You've recalculated. You've restructured. You've reached out and recoiled. You've poured yourself into plans, programs, and people, only to find yourself still aching, still empty, still asking, why hasn't anything worked? And now, in this sacred pause, I lean in, not to criticize your effort, but to offer you something far better than striving. Let me help you by showing you the power of surrender, not as weakness but as warfare, not as defeat, but as the doorway to your deliverance. Child, surrender isn't giving up, it's giving over. It's not laying down in resignation, it's laying down in revelation. The revelation that I, the one who formed galaxies with a whisper and carved identity into your DNA, am far more capable of carrying what's crushing you. You've been running on fumes, thinking if you could just do a little more, fix a little faster, pray a little louder, you'd finally arrive. But I didn't call you to strive into destiny. I called you to step into it with me. And stepping with me requires letting go of your version of control. Let go of your timelines. Let go of your fear-fueled backup plans. Let go of the illusion that your value is in your performance. It's not. Your value is found in my voice. And I say, rest. Return. Release. You've tried everything. Now try surrender. You see, what feels like the end of your options is actually the beginning of my orchestration. The doors that closed were not rejections, they were redirections. The walls that refused to fall weren't a punishment, they were a protection. And now, I'm calling you into the safest place you've never trusted, my hands. I don't need you to know the next 10 steps. I need you to trust the next yes. The yes that lays your expectations on the altar and watches me resurrect something holier in their place. I am not afraid of your chaos. I'm not intimidated by your questions. I'm not offended by your exhaustion. I welcome it. I waited for it. Because now, finally, your hands are open. Your heart is listening. And I can do what I've been wanting to do all along. Not just help you, but carry you. Surrender isn't a sign of your failure. It's the sound of your faith. Let me lift what you were never meant to haul. Lay it down, child, and let me pick you up. My precious one, I need you to hear this clearly, deeply, permanently. I am not repulsed by your weakness. I am drawn to it. In a world that applauds perfection and punishes fragility, you've been trained to hide your humanity. But I created you with that fragility, not to shame you, but to invite me into it. Your tears don't repel me, they pull me closer. Your trembling doesn't scare me, it awakens my mercy. And your weakest moments are not the moments you need to hide from me. They are the ones that most magnetically attract my heart. Let me help you rewrite what you believe about brokenness. I do not bypass it, I bless it. The cracks you tried to cover are the very places my glory wants to shine through. The trembling prayers, the dry whispers, the hollow moments where you question your worth, those are the altars where I pour my oil. You think I need your strength, but child, I'm your strength. You think I require your confidence, but I desire your dependence. I'm not keeping score of your stability, I'm counting your surrendered sighs. I'm measuring your midnight tears. I'm holding close every groan you've never shared with anyone. And I'm not disappointed in your weakness. I'm invested in it. Because it's there, right there in the soft, raw, aching parts of your story, that my grace comes alive. My strength is made perfect not in your performance, but in your fragility. You remember how I knelt by the broken, how I bent low to the lepers, dined with the doubters, wept with the weary. I didn't keep my distance. I entered their dust. I stepped into their sorrow. I made my home in their heartache. And I still do. I still walk into the hospital rooms, the divorce papers, the empty bank accounts, the anxious minds. I still sit in the car with you when you scream in silence. I still stand by your bed when you beg for sleep. I'm there, not because you invited me perfectly, but because your pain called me urgently. I'm not standing on the other side of your weakness waiting for you to get it together. I'm in the weakness. I'm in the waiting. I'm with you. Not because you earned me, but because I love you. So, let me help you unlearn the lie that says only the strong are seen. I see you most when you feel least seen. I hold you most when you feel least held. And I love you most, not because you're invincible, but because you let me be your invincibility. There is no shame in your struggle. There is only a savior in it. And I am he. I am your help in the heat of battle, your shelter in the hour of sorrow, your strength when you cannot stand. So lean into me, not with confidence but with need. Come crawling if you must. I am not offended by your limp. I honor it, and I'll meet you there, right where strength fails and grace begins. My beloved, you spent too long rehearsing explanations for pain that never needed to be justified. You've tried to articulate sorrow that language was never meant to carry. You've run scenarios in your mind, wondering how to frame your past, your patterns, your prayers so I wouldn't be disappointed. But child, I already know. I know the why behind every word you said, and the ones you couldn't form. I know the story behind your silence. I know the burden behind your brave face. And I want you to hear this clearly. You don't have to explain yourself to me. You don't need to present a polished version of your heart. I know the full picture, and I still choose you. Before your tears ever fell, I collected them. Before the ache ever took root in your chest, I was there with comfort in hand. I saw the decision you made when no one was watching. I saw the restraint you showed when your flesh screamed to retaliate. I heard the whisper of help me before it ever passed your lips. My child, I don't need your defense. I am your defender. I don't require your resume. I know your reality. And still my heart leaps toward you. Not coyiously, not out of obligation, but with ferocity. I pursue you with full knowledge of your faults, your failures, your fears. And I still say, let me help you. Because, listen, your transparency doesn't weaken our relationship. It strengthens it. I didn't come to you because you were good at pretending. I came because your heart was brave enough to open. Every scar is sacred to me. Every mistake you've made had been measured by mercy, not judgment. I know the season that wore you thin. I know the betrayal that left you bleeding. I know how hard it is for you to trust again. And I'm not rushing you, I'm resting with you. I'm sitting in the corner of your confusion with my arm around your spirit, saying, I've seen it all, and I'm still not leaving. That is my covenant. That is my character. And that is what separates me from every other voice in your life. I know you, and I love you entirely. No edits, no exceptions, no explanations required. Let me be your safe place. Let me be the one who listens even when your words fall apart. You don't have to translate your trauma for me. I speak the language of the soul. I understand groans. I interpret sighs. I respond to silence. I respond to you. So come, sit with me. No script, no maths, no pressure to make sense. Just you and me, raw and real. And in that sacred space, I will pour out help not wrapped in conditions, but clothed in compassion. I don't need your story to be neat. I just want it to be honest. Let me help you carry the chapters you've been too afraid to read aloud. I already know them, and I still call them holy. My child, I know the sudden silence has unnerved you. I know the stillness around you has felt sharp, like a void, like something missing, like abandonment. But I need you to hear this clearly from my spirit to your spirit. The room didn't grow quiet because I left. It grew quiet because I entered. The silence is not evidence of my absence. It's proof of my presence. I silenced the noise not to punish you, but to position you. I drew back the curtain of distraction so you could finally hear what the clutter had been concealing, my voice. Let me help you understand the purpose of this pause. I've watched you run from one thing to the next, hoping momentum would manufacture peace. But movement without me is just noise dressed in purpose. I needed to strip away the extras, not because I'm cruel, but because I'm intentional. You've heard 1,000 opinions. You've weighed 100 voices. You've entertained the whispers of fear and the applause of others. But none of them could give you what your soul truly craves, my clarity. So yes, I allowed the volume of your life to drop. I pulled you into this divine hush. Because in silence, truth speaks louder. And right now, I'm speaking. Softly, slowly, sovereignly. I want to tell you things that require quietness to comprehend. I want to reveal wisdom that only stillness can unlock. I want to show you the map that can't be found in noise, only in nudges. The discomfort you feel in the silence isn't emptiness, it's expectancy. The air is thick with revelation. Don't run from this moment. Remain in it. Resist the urge to fill the stillness with scrolling or scrambling. Just sit. Just breathe. Just be. Let me teach you the language of my whisper. I'm not hiding. I'm highlighting. I'm drawing your attention to things you missed in the rush. I'm guiding you with divine precision, but you can only catch the details in the quiet. Do you remember how I spoke to Elijah? Not through the fire, not through the earthquake, not through the wind, but through a still small voice. That is what I'm doing again. I'm brushing past your frenzy with the hush of heaven. Don't despise this silence. It is not a prison, it's a portal. It's not the end of something. It's the entrance into something deeper. In the absence of noise, you will hear me naming you again, claiming you again, commissioning you again. So lean in, tune your ears, still your thoughts, I am here, and I am not done speaking. Let me help you fall in love with my silence, because in it, you'll find strategy. In it, you'll find strength. In it, you will find me. My beloved child, the time for hesitation is over. The time for hiding behind excuses, behind shame, behind the illusion that you must get it together before you draw near. It ends now. I did not call you to come when you're perfect. I called you to come when you're present. Not when you feel strong, but when you feel stretched. Not when your prayers are polished, but when your pain is pouring through the cracks. Come as you are. That's not a cliche. It's a command drenched in compassion. Because my help isn't given to the best behavior. It's given to the bravely honest. Let me help you tear down the lie that says you need to be worthy before you receive what I already paid for. If my cross meant anything, and it meant everything, then it means the doors to my throne room are wide open, not to the cleaned up version of you, but to the current you. Yes, the one still unsure. Yes, the one still bleeding. Yes, the one still tangled in questions and aching with doubt. I don't cringe when you come dirty. I don't retreat when you arrive with trembling hands and tear-stained cheeks. I run toward you. I embrace you. I wrap my help around you like a robe, not because you've earned it, but because I already decided you were worth it. You see, this world teaches that you must qualify for assistance. Fill out the form. Prove the need. Wait your turn. But I am not the world. I am the Word made flesh, and my word to you is this: now is the time for mercy. Not tomorrow. Not when you've made progress. Not when you've memorized all the right prayers. Now. Right now. Come into my help like a child runs into their father's arms after falling off their bike. Bloody knees, scraped palms, heart pounding. You don't walk in with explanation. You run in with expectation. I'll bind your wounds. I'll silence your fears. I'll remind you, again and again, my help is your inheritance, not your reward, not your wage, your inheritance. So come, let me help you stop delaying what grace already delivered. No more rehearsing apologies in your head. No more wondering if I'll turn away. No more holding back because you feel behind. I am not measuring you by performance. I am magnetized to your posture. About heart moves me more than a bold plan. So come tired. Come undone. Come unfiltered. Come unworthy. Because once you come, I'll do the rest. I'll do the cleansing. I'll do the comforting. I'll do the restoring. And I'll do it because you're mine. You've heard my whisper. Let me help you. And now, I am inviting you to become part of how I help others too. Every time you sow into this word, through super thanks, membership, or the giving link below, you are not just supporting content, you are igniting revival. You are pouring oil into lamps for hearts still flickering in darkness. You are sending my voice into homes, phones, and souls that are desperate to know I still speak. I said in Isaiah 55:11, my word will not return void. And when you give, you are part of the fulfillment. This is your moment to release what's in your hands so I can release what's in mine. Give now. Sow into this river, and I will multiply the harvest in your life. My child, you've wondered why this season has stretched you so far. You've asked through tears, why does everything feel so heavy? You've looked at your hands empty after so much effort, and whispered, what was the point of all this? And now, in the quiet echo of your soul, I respond with love and truth. This season wasn't to break you. It was to bend you. Not bend you in defeat, but bend you toward me. to turn your heart toward the helper you've learned to live without, to loosen your grip on independent and deepen your roots in dependence. I never sent the struggle, but I allowed the stretch. Because in the stretch, you discovered the limit of your own strength and the limitlessness of mine. In the stretch, you ran out of solutions and ran into surrender. In the stretch, you lost control, but gained clarity. And in that clarity, you began to see this wasn't punishment. It was preparation. I wasn't pushing you away. I was pulling you in. Just like a tree bends with the wind to keep from breaking, so too have you bent in this season, not to fall, but to follow me more closely. Your resilience was not forged in easy days, but in the furnace of fatigue, in the wrestling of the wilderness. And still, you're here. Still standing. Still soft. Still mine. I want you to look back, not in regret, but in revelation. Look at how I held you when you thought I'd forgotten you. Look at how I sent comfort in the form of people, provision in the form of timing, peace in the form of whispers. I was there. I am here. And every night you cried out. Every morning you got up weary but willing. I saw it. I counted it as worship. You thought you were breaking, but really, you were bending into alignment. Like a branch bending toward sunlight, you were learning to lean into the source. You no longer had the luxury of pretending you didn't need me. And that was the breakthrough. That was the shift. So, let me help you see this season through heaven's eyes. You are not the victim of circumstance. You are the vessel of transformation. What felt like delay was divine design. What felt like silence was sacred strategy. And now, as you emerge from the bend, stronger than before, softer than before, more surrendered than ever, know this: you are ready. Not because you've mastered everything, but because you've been mastered by me. You've learned to lean. You've learned to listen. You've learned to let go. And now, I will flood you with the kind of help that comes not to rescue the strong, but to revive the yielded. You bent. You endured. And now, I will build. My beloved, let me speak this to the deep places within you. The ones that know you've been carrying too much, moving too fast, and wondering why it still feels like you're going in circles. You've walked faithfully. You've pressed forward. You've done your best to keep going. But here is the truth that must break through the noise today. You've walked too far without letting me lead. Not because you've rebelled, but because you've relied on yourself. You've leaned on your wisdom, your instincts, your experiences, your resilience. And while I honor your effort, I'm calling you higher now. I'm calling you back into rhythm with me. You were never meant to be your own guide. Your intuition, your intelligence, even your discernment, they were never supposed to replace my voice. And while I see the sincerity in your striving, I also see the subtle weariness that has taken root because of it. You're tired not just from the journey, but from the weight of self-direction. Your spirit hath been running on fumes, fueled by discipline instead of dependence. But I want to remind you, child, there is a difference between movement and momentum. You can go far without me, but only with me can you go deep. Depth is what you've been crying for in secret, and depth only comes when I lead. Let me lead you again. Let me take the front. Let me reorder the steps you've been sprinting through without pause. I'm not here to scold you. I'm here to redirect you. To take the map you've drawn in desperation and replace it with the blueprint of heaven. You've charted your course through logic, fear, and memory. But I chart with vision. I see what you don't. I know where the land becomes holy, where the terrain turns fertile, where your feet will find not just stability, but sanctuary. Your destiny doesn't live in the land of independence. It dwells in the place of obedience. Let me lead. I'm not asking for your speed. I'm asking for your yes. And here's the most important part. When you let me lead, I don't just give direction. I give pace. I slow you down when your heart is racing for approval. I speed you up when your fear wants to delay. I walk beside you when you're tired. I carry you when you collapse. I lead not as a taskmaster but as a father. You don't have to know the whole plan. You only need to trust the one who designed it. So pause. Breathe. Take your hands off the wheel. Your steps were never meant to be self-authored. They were meant to be spirit-led. And I'm here, now, hand extended. Will you let me lead you out of exhaustion and into alignment? My child, I see the movie reel playing on repeat in your mind. The scenes you can't forget. The words that cut deep and keep echoing. The failures you replay like a broken record, hoping that if you just understand them enough, they'll lose their sting. But instead, they've rooted themselves into your identity. Pain has become a narrator in your life. Trauma has taken the pen. And today I say to you, put it down. Stop rehearsing the pain. Stop living by the version of the story that shame keeps repeating. Let me help you. Let me rewrite the story. Because what you remember through brokenness, I remember through blood. The blood that wrote every record. The blood that erased every accusation. The blood that silences the voices that still haunt you at night. You keep asking, what if I'd done it differently? Why did they leave? Why wasn't I enough? But those are the wrong questions. The right question is this: what can God do with this now? And my answer is, everything. I can redeem. I can restore. I can resurrect. I'm not just trying to help you forget the past. I'm trying to reframe it. What was once your deepest wound is about to become your loudest witness. You see, when you rehearse pain, you keep it alive. But when you release it, I resurrect purpose. The enemy wants you stuck in scenes where you were victimized, rejected, overlooked. But I want to take you behind the scenes, to the places where I shielded you, sustained you, refined you. You didn't come through that fire empty. You came through with evidence. Evidence that I was there. Evidence that your story didn't end at the betrayal, the breakup, the breakdown. Child, I am the author of your life. And I never write tragedy without threading triumph through every page. The chapters of pain are not the conclusion. They are the confession booth where your healing begins. So let me help you put the pen back in my hands. Stop trying to edit your history into something palatable. Bring me the raw, the unfiltered, the unspoken. I'll write redemption through it all. I'll turn the story into something that sets others free. Because what you've lived through is not wasted. It's weaponized. In my hands, your scars become scrolls. Your tears become testimonies. Your agony becomes authority. So stop rehearsing. Stop defending. Stop blaming yourself. You are not the story you survived. You are the story I'm still telling. Let me help you turn the page. Let me write the next chapter. Let me make it glorious. My precious one, I need you to know something sacred, something the world may have overlooked, something even you may have dismissed. Every tear you've cried has been counted. Not one has fallen to the ground without my notice. Not one has been unseen. Not one has evaporated into nothingness. I caught them all. I stored them in my bottle, not because I'm sentimental, but because I'm intentional. Your tears speak. Even when your voice is silent, your tears become intercession. They rise as incense to my throne. They are not just evidence of pain. They are testimonies of perseverance. Let me help you understand this deeper truth. Your tears haven't been a sign of weakness. They've been the language of your endurance. You didn't cry because you gave up. You cried because you kept going. You didn't weep because you were weak. You wept because you were willing to feel the full weight of what you were walking through. And I was there, not just beside you, but within every teardrop. I heard the things you didn't have the strength to articulate. I understood the grief that made no sense to anyone else. I saw the days when you smiled publicly and crumbled privately. I didn't turn away. I leaned closer. You've been told to wipe those tears, to stay strong, to pull it together. But in my kingdom, your tears are power. They water the ground beneath your breakthrough. They soften the soil of your next season. And they speak a language that unlocks mercy, favor, and justice. Do you remember Hannah, weeping in the temple? It wasn't her words that stirred the heavens, it was her tear. It wasn't her eloquence that opened the womb, it was her anguish. And so it is with you. The tears you thought were wasted were actually seeds. And now, harvest is coming. And now, the wind is shifting. And now, I'm responding to the things you never said out loud, but bled through your eyes. So let me help you reframe your sorrow. What you thought was winged was actually rape. What felt like breaking was actually birthing. And now, in this very hour, I declare over you, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Your tears have built altars in the unseen. They have become declarations in the spirit realm. And I, the Lord your God, am responding, not just to your prayers, but to your pain. Help is on the way, not as a vague comfort, but as a visitation. I'm sending confirmation. I'm releasing relief. I'm shifting things behind the scenes because your tears have spoken what your mouth could not. You may feel empty, but heaven sees you as full of hope, full of promise, full of the kind of strength that only comes from weeping in my presence. Let me help you understand. Your tears were never a liability. They were a language, and I heard them all. My child, you've been asking for help, just enough to get through, just enough to make it to the next day, just enough to hold things together. But hear me now. I am not the God of just enough. I am the God of restoration. You've been praying for survival, but I'm declaring revival. You've been hoping for relief, but I'm releasing recompense. I will not only help you, I will restore you. Not to the person you were before the pain, but to the person you couldn't have become without it. Your restoration won't be a return to normal. It will be a revelation of glory. Let me help you see what's coming. Restoration is not about fixing broken pieces. It's about forming new ones. I will not just patch up what's been torn. I will rebuild what the enemy tried to demolish. And what I build, hell cannot touch. You've endured loss, delay, betrayal, disappointment. You've been stretched so far you thought you would snap. But instead of snapping, you bent, and you grew. That growth is not invisible to me. I see how much it cost you just to keep standing. And now, I will pay you back. I will pour back into you joy for mourning, strength for sorrow, peace for panic. I will not stop at comfort. I will restore. You remember Job. He didn't just survive. He didn't just get back what he lost. He received a double. You remember Ruth. She didn't just glean from the field. She married the owner. I'm not helping you to maintain. I'm helping you to multiply. You mourned. You waited. You wept. Now comes the restoration. I will restore your clarity, your energy, your laughter, your vision. The things that faded slowly, quietly, I will resurrect them with sudden glory. The places that grew numb, I will flood them with divine sensitivity. This is not a recovery season. This is a reclaiming season. So don't lower your expectations. Don't shrink your hope. Don't ask me for crumbs when I've prepared a banquet. I'm not intimidated by the size of your loss. I am excited by the scale of your restoration. And child, you will not come out of this empty-handed. You will come out with evidence. Evidence that I was with you. Evidence that I honored your endurance. Evidence that restoration isn't a fairy tale. It's a fact in my kingdom. You will know my help not just by what I prevent, but by what I produce. And I'm producing restoration that is personal, tailored to you, designed around every place you felt depleted. And when it arrives, you won't just whisper thank you. You'll shout, only God could have done this. Let me help you step into that. Let me restore you. My precious one, I need you to know something sacred, something the world may have overlooked, something even you may have dismissed. Every tear you've cried has been counted. Not one has fallen to the ground without my notice. Not one has gone unseen. Not one has evaporated into nothingness. I caught them all. I stored them in my bottle, not because I'm sentimental, but because I'm intentional. Your tears speak. Even when your voice is silent, your tears become intercession. They rise as incense to my throne. They are not just evidence of pain, they are testimonies of perseverance. Let me help you understand this deeper truth. Your tears haven't been a sign of weakness. They've been the language of your endurance. You didn't cry because you gave up. You cried because you kept going. You didn't weep because you were weak. You wept because you were willing to feel the full weight of what you were walking through. And I was there. Not just beside you, but within every teardrop. I heard the things you didn't have the strength to articulate. I understood the grief that made no sense to anyone else. I saw the days when you smiled publicly and crumbled privately. I didn't turn away. I leaned closer. You've been told to wipe those tears, to stay strong, to pull it together. But in my kingdom, your tears are power. They water the ground beneath your breakthrough. They soften the soil of your next season. And they speak a language that unlocks mercy, favor, and justice. Do you remember Hannah, weeping in the temple? It wasn't her words that stirred the heavens, it was her tears. It wasn't her eloquence that opened the womb, it was her anguish. And so it is with you. The tears you thought were wasted were actually seeds. And now, harvest is coming. Now, the wind is shifting. Now, I'm responding to the things you never said out loud, but bled through your eyes. So let me help you reframe your sorrow. What you thought weakness was actually worried. What felt like breaking was actually birthing. And now, in this very hour, I declare over you, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Your tears have built altars in the unseen. They have become declarations in the spirit realm. And I, the Lord your God, am responding, not just to your prayers, but to your pain. Help is on the way, not as a vague comfort, but as a visitation. I'm sending confirmation. I'm releasing relief. I'm shifting things behind the scenes because your tears have spoken what your mouth could not. You may feel empty, but heaven sees you as full. Full of hope. Full of promise. Full of the kind of strength that only comes from weeping in my presence. Let me help you understand. Your tears were never a liability. They were a language, and I heard them all. My child, you've been asking for help, just enough to get through, just enough to make it to the next day, just enough to hold things together. But hear me now. I am not the God of just enough. I am the God of restoration. You've been praying for survival, but I'm declaring revival. You've been hoping for relief, but I'm releasing recompense. I will not only help you, I will restore you. Not to the person you were before the pain, but to the person you couldn't have become without it. Your restoration won't be a return to normal. It will be a revelation of glory. Let me help you see what's coming. Restoration is not about fixing broken pieces. It's about forming new ones. I will not just patch up what's been torn. I will rebuild what the enemy tried to demolish. And what I build, hell cannot touch. You've endured loss, delay, betrayal, disappointment. You've been stretched so far you thought you would snap. But instead of snapping, you bent, and you grew. That growth is not invisible to me. I see how much it cost you just to keep standing. And now, I will pay you back. I will pour back into you joy for mourning, strength for sorrow, peace for panic. I will not stop at comfort. I will restore. Do you remember Job? He didn't just survive. He didn't just get back what he lost. He received a double. Do you remember Ruth? She didn't just glean from the field. She married the owner. I'm not helping you to maintain. I'm helping you to multiply. You've mourned. You waited. You've wept. Now comes the restoration. I will restore your clarity, your energy, your laughter, your vision. The things that faded slowly, quietly, I will resurrect them with sudden glory. The places that grew numb, I will flood them with divine sensitivity. This is not a recovery season. This is a reclaiming season. So don't lower your expectations. Don't shrink your hope. Don't ask me for crumbs when I've prepared a banquet. I'm not intimidated by the size of your loss. I am excited by the scale of your restoration. And child, you will not come out of this empty-handed. You will come out with evidence. Evidence that I was with you. Evidence that I honored your endurance. Evidence that restoration isn't a fairy tale. It's a fact in my kingdom. You will know my help not just by what I prevent, but by what I produce. And I'm producing restoration that is personal, tailored to you, designed around every place you felt depleted. And when it arrives, you won't just whisper thank you. You'll shout, only God could have done this. Let me help you step into that. Let me restore you. My beloved child, I know you have stood at the threshold of many tomorrows, longing for clarity, craving a sign, praying for direction. I know the weight of indecision has been heavy on you, how you've paced in the quiet hours trying to hear my voice, how you scan the horizon for hope, how your hands have trembled trying to choose the path. But hear me, before your first step forward, you do not need perfect strategy. You need my vision. I want to paint the future into your spirit so clearly that when you walk, your feet will march not from fear but from faith. Vision is not merely seeing, it's believing what I will do, even when what you see now seems broken, crooked, or unfinished. Do you remember how I called Abraham, not yet knowing the land, not knowing how the promise would be fulfilled, but simply trusting that I would do what I said? So I call you now. Let me fill your eyes with the promise so that your heart can step even in the unknown. Vision is not born out of your own striving. It is a divine breath I breathe into longing. Where your vision is blurred, I want to sharpen it. Where it had been deferred, I want to accelerate it. Where the promises seem silent, I want to say them with thunder in the sky. I am the God of vision, of purpose, of picture, of possibility. I want your next steps not to be guesses but revelations, not hesitations but bold advances. Imagine with me a horizon lit up with what I have planned for you. Jobs, relationships, peace, purpose that pulses like sunrise in your spirit. See the walls of failure turned into windows of hope. Hear the laughter that will shake loose what grief once held tight. Smell the fragrance of restoration creeping in, more real than the memory of loss. Feel the ground beneath you becoming firm, confident, consecrated. This is what I'm offering for you, personally, especially. I know the creeping fears. What if I fall? What if I choose wrong? What if this time the fight is too much? But I say, vision uproots fear. When my purpose floods your mind, shadows shrink. When you see what I see, you walk in light, even if darkness presses. So let's do this together. Come closer. Let me whisper my plan into your soul. Let me align your stepping stones. Let me unite broken dreams and tear-soaked hope into a tapestry of my faithfulness. Before you take that next step, let me fill you with vision so vivid, so burning, so undeniable, that stepping becomes worship. Not because the path is fully lit, but because I am the light that guides. Let me help you recognize your purpose. Let me help you see not only what you will become, but why you were never lost. Because I have always carried you, and now I want you carried toward what I created you to be. My child, I know the night has been long. I know how the pain has pressed in, how its weight has sat heavy upon your heart, how the memories have whispered that you are still where you bled, still where you broke. But hear me now, hear my voice piercing the darkness. The place of pain is not your permanent position. This season of suffering, of sorrow, of shattered dreams, it is not and will not be the final frame of your story. I see beyond the ache. I feel the sting of tears. I understand the wounds that cut too deep to hide. Yet I say to you, I have already begun to pull you toward something more glorious, a place of healing, a place of celebration, a place where pain bows to praise. You know why I love pain. Not because I am distant, but because I am working behind the scenes, weaving your tears into testimony, turning your heartbreak into harvest. Pain is not my plan, it is my pause. It is the space where I tenderly speak, shape, stretch, and purify what must be purified. The furnace refines gold. The refining fire reveals the beauty hidden in ashes. Every sigh, every sleepless night, every moment when your heart felt too heavy, it has not been wasted. Not one. You are not stuck. You have not been forsaken. I have not forgotten the hymns you will sing, because I am preparing them now in places you cannot yet see. I know the voices that haunt you, the voice that says you will always be broken, you will always be defined by your losses. You aren't going to move past this. But those are lies of darkness. I say to you, you will move past this. I will dismantle every chain that has bound your heart. I will mend every ripped place. I will breathe resurrection into your bones. In its time, the hurting will become holy. The bleeding will become blessing. The mourning will burst into melody. The shadows of your past will shape your compassion, your empathy, your power. The scars will become stories, not prisons. So let me help you stand out of that place of pain. Let me be your comfort, your covenant keeper, your restorer. Don't stay where sorrow says you belong. Rise, even if trembling. Speak, even if faint. Believe, even if unseen. Because I have called you to more than survival. I've called you to victory. I didn't plan for you to be defined by what you endured, but by what I'll achieve through you. Your pain will not outlast my purpose. Let me show you what healing feels like. Let me bring you into the place where your heart isn't bruised but blooming. Let me help you leave the painful place, not by ignoring it, but by walking through it into what only I can build. You are not your pain. You are my child, and your position is promise. My precious child, I know the questions that swirl beneath your calm exterior. I hear the internal ache you rarely voice aloud. Did I miss it? You replay the delays, the detours, the disobedience, the distractions, wondering if somehow you've fallen out of rhythm with my plan. But today, I break that lie with the force of my love. You have not missed it. The promise I gave you was never fragile. It doesn't break with your detours. It doesn't vanish because of your missteps. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I finish what I start, and I started something sacred in you. Let me help you see it from my view. I don't measure destiny by your perfect performance. I measure it by my perfect faithfulness. I wove your end from the beginning. Before you ever faltered, I factored in your failures. I already knew the days you would feel too weak to keep believing. The seasons where it would seem like everyone else was moving forward while you stayed stuck. But I didn't stop writing your story there. I waited for you there. I surrounded your delays with grace. I nested your mistakes inside mercy. What I promised is still alive, and I intend to fulfill every word. You see, time has not stolen your calling. Delay has not deleted your destiny. I'm not bound by human calendars or clocks. I speak and universes respond. And when I declared your purpose, I declared it with full knowledge of every twist, every valley, every silence. I knew. And still, I promised. So now, I whisper again. I will do it. Not because you earned it. Not because it's easy. But because I said I would. My word doesn't return void. I haven't changed my mind about you. What you thought was a missed moment was often a moment of maturing. I was preparing you to carry what you thought you were ready for, but would have crushed you had I delivered it too soon. So come to me again, not with guilt, but with expectation. Dust off the promises. Pull out the journals. Let your spirit believe again. Let your heart beat with hope again. You didn't miss it. You're right on time for what I'm about to do next. The shift is still coming. The restoration is still unfolding. The dream is still breathing. And I am still the God who finishes everything he begins. You haven't forfeited your future, you've been freed for it. So don't give up now. Don't lower your faith to match your fear. Lift your eyes. I am not done. I'm about to exceed what you thought was lost. You haven't missed it. You've been marked for it. Child, I know what it feels like to pray with trembling hands, heart wide open, and then wait in silence. I know the ache that forms when answers don't arrive in the time you hoped, in the way you imagined. You've whispered prayers in the middle of the night, journaled dreams drenched in tears, lifted up your voice in desperate hope, and then waited and waited. But today, I want you to hear me clearly, tenderly, and truly. I didn't ignore your prayers. I stored them. Every cry, every groan, every whispered God, help me. They were not lost. They were collected by heaven. Let me take you into the throne room where I dwell. Imagine shelves filled with golden bowls, each one containing your prayers, your tears, your groans too deep for words. Revelation tells you this is true, and I have watched over those prayers, child. I have breathed over them, protected them, kept them in sacred silence until the timing was right. You see, what felt like denial was divine delay, a delay drenched in protection. I wasn't ignoring you. I was insulating the answer until your heart could receive the weight of it. Some things take time, not because I am distant, but because I am detail-oriented. You prayed for relationships, not knowing some of those connections would have wounded you more than healed you. You prayed for doors to open, not realizing I was fortifying the walls to protect you from counterfeit opportunities. You prayed for clarity, but I needed you to become still enough, humble enough, to hear me. And now, even now, I want you to understand. I've never stopped listening. I've just been waiting for the fullness of time. And now, I'm moving again. I'm breathing again. And what was stored is about to be released. Lot of trickle but turned. Not a hint. The harvest. So let me help you lift your head again. Don't let silence deceive you. Don't let delay disillusion you. Don't let the enemy whisper that your words were wasted. They weren't. They were stored. And I am opening the vaults. I am releasing the fulfillment. I am answering, not just with words but with wonders. You will not just hear that I am good, you will see it. You will walk in rooms you once only prayed for. You will hold in your hands what you once only cried out for. Because I am not a God who forgets. I remember. I redeem. And now, child, I respond. You've waited well. Now watch me move. Because the time I stored it for is now. My child, hear my heart. Faith is never meant to be forced. It cannot be whipped up by striving or manufactured by willpower alone. It is not a performance, but a posture. A posture of receiving. You've been pressing, pulling, pushing, getting up, trying harder, seeking signs, striving to believe. And though there has been beauty in your effort, there is weariness too. I see how your faith has been stretched thin by disappointment. How every delay whispered to you that you must take control because perhaps I will not. But beloved, that's a lie. Because I am with you, and my help is coming. Faith does not come from your fixed resolve. It blooms in the soil of surrender, watered by my grace, nurtured by my presence. Let me help you receive that help, so your faith might finally unfurl instead of bristle. You've tried to believe in your own strength, to muster courage out of desperation. You've tried to prove to yourself and to others that you're faith-worthy. But child, you are not faith-worthy by your own performance. You are faith-worthy because I said you are. My word does not condition my love on your perfection. My promises don't vanish when your faith trembles. I want to carry you into a season where faith does not feel like a burden, but a gift. Where believing doesn't exhaust you, but empowers you. Where every whisper of doubt is met by my louder whisper, I am here. I will help. You are not alone. I will not yank faith out of your clenched fists. I will gently open your hands. I will pour my help into them, because I desire not your performance, but your peace. Look with me at what I am doing behind the scenes, even now. I am setting the stage for your faith to flourish. I have planted seeds in what has seemed like barren ground. I have softened the soil of your soul through tears you didn't think anyone saw. I have pruned off the dead weight of fear, shame, comparison. And I have sharpened your discernment in the places where you thought you'd lost your way. All these moments of waiting, they have not been idle. They have been preparing you, so that when my help arrives, it will feel like coming home. Faith will rise not because you forced it, but because you felt my faithfulness in your broken places. Because you saw that I never left. And your heart, tired but hopeful, will respond not out of obligation, but out of delight. So let me help you receive my help. Let go of trying to conjure faith by yourself. Let my presence settle into the chamber of your uncertainty. Let the quiet whispers of my love become louder than the shouts of your fear. Let me cradle your fragile belief and nurture it. Faith blossoms when my help rests upon you. It sings through the cracks of your doubt. It breathes even in the stillness. And you, my beloved, will see that faith doesn't have to be forced. It is born of receiving. Rest now. Receive now. Believe now, because I help now. I told you I didn't ignore your prayers. I stored them. And now I ask you to do the same for someone else. Store up a seed in this ministry, and watch how I send rain to others through your obedience. When you give, you extend the reach of my help to people who don't even know how to ask yet. You are sowing light into someone else's cave. You are placing manna into the hands of the hungry. I said in Malachi 3:10, bring the whole tithe and see if I will not open the windows of heaven, and I will. So give now, use the super thanks, join the membership, or sow directly through the link. Let your generosity become the miracle I use next. My precious one, let this truth penetrate. Grace does not keep score. I am not minding every misstep you made. I am not cataloging your mistakes. I am not holding on to your failures and replaying them in my mind as justification for withholding love. No, I see you. I see every scar, every regret, every stumble you've been haunted by. But I also see your survival. I see the nights you stayed on your knees. I see the days you dragged yourself out when nothing in you wanted to move. I see the faith hidden under fear. And miracles occur when you understand that God is not counting your failures. He is counting your survival, your endurance, your courage to keep hoping when hope seemed absent. You have been living under a yoke of performance, shame, comparison. You thought that my love depended on your strength, your spiritual victories, your outward appearance. But child, I did not send my son so you would measure up. I sent him so you could be freed from the measuring stick. Grace means that the ledger is wiped. Grace means that when you fall, you don't stay there. My mercy picks you up. Grace means that what you could not do, I have already done. What you could not sustain, I sustain you. The love I have for you isn't contingent on flawless performance. It's anchored in my character. And that character does not change because you stumbled. It is steadfast, compassionate, forgiving. Now listen, let me help you stop living like you are in debt to perfection. Let me help you lift the weight of guilt that has been tossed onto your back. Let me help you draw a breath that isn't held hostage by regrets. You survived more than you realize. The world may have counted you out. Your own mind may have shut down on you. But I have not. I am proud of what you've endured. Every moment that you wanted to stop but kept going, it counts. Every tear, every whisper, every prayer, it counts. Your survival is not small. It is sacred. So come to me. Let me help you stand in my grace. Let me wash away the shame, the self-condemnation, the lie that you must keep proving yourself. You are not your mistakes. You are my child. Loved, not earned. Forgiven, not forced. I look at your survival and I rejoice. I see where you've grown. I see that you are here. And that is enough. More than enough. I will not count your failures. I will count your survival, your courage, your willingness to let me help. And I will use it, not to shame, but to glorify. Let me help you live from grace, not from fear. Let me help you know that with me, where you're going is not determined by where you've been. Grace does not keep score. Love never fails. My beloved child, I have seen every scar on your heart. I have known every wound etched on your spirit. You have carried pain that left you raw, left you asking why in the nights when daylight offered no answers. You thought those wounds marked you as broken, as someone less than whole. But listen carefully. I will turn your outer wounds into inner wisdom. The pain was never wasted. The scar was never my shame. Each cut, each ache, each betrayal, it was intended by me not to brand you but to bend you. Not to bury you but to build you. What feels like damage will become the shape of your strength. You asked, will this ever heal? Yes, I will heal. But more than heal, I will refine. I will take your broken places and refashion them into something brilliant. Imagine with me now the places you thought you'd never recover from, shining with scars that glow like gold. The trembling fear you felt when someone hurt you becomes gentle compassion in someone else's pain. The bitterness you tasted becomes the sweetness of empathy. The shame that once silenced you becomes the voice that will set others free. Every wound you hoped would vanish, every hurt you prayed to forget, they are the very things through which my wisdom flows. Do not despise the low points. Do not hide the past in shame. I want you to see that those moments you thought were defining your failure, they were actually designs for your future. The lessons came in the ashes. The breakthroughs came after the breakdowns. The understanding you now have wasn't given in the heights, it was born in the valley. And oh, what perspective I have harvested from your pain. The clarity that emerges when you've been stretched beyond comfort is not temporary. It recalibrates your soul. I teach you to see not just what was lost, but what was preserved. Not just what was stolen, but what was stored. Not just what was broken, but what was becoming. So let me help you lean into that wisdom. Let me unlock those hidden rooms inside your heart where you stashed your hurt. Let me gloss over each wound with mercy, tint them with grace, until they become testaments of beauty. When someone tries to dim your light, don't forget the fire refined you. When you doubt your voice, remember the choir of scars beneath are singing truths. Your outer wounds, they told stories of pain. My goal is that they become scriptures of strength. Let me write wisdom into the broken places. Let me restore the broken, not just as healed, but as hallowed, as sanctuaries of story. Proof that my help never comes late, and my power never comes irrelevant. My child, I know how many times you thought the ground beneath you would break. How many times you stood trembling, legs weak, faith flickering like a candle in wind. I saw the cracking earth of your hopes. I felt how the ground of circumstance threatened to swallow your confidence. But even in those moments, those trembling, shaky, scared moments, I was your foundation. I held the pieces. I stood under you when it felt like nothing else could hold you up. Even when you felt forsaken, I remained. Even when your fists were clenched in fear, I was steady beneath your fear. Your trembling was not abandonment. Your shaking was not aloneness. It was proof that you were being held. Do you remember when the mountain you climbed seemed insurmountable? You thought you might slip. You thought you had nothing left. But I'm here to remind you, when you were at your end, I became your edge. When you felt unsteady, I became your footing. When all else failed, job, plans, people, you still had me. I have never left the ruins of your faith unexplored. I have never left you naked in your doubts. I have never left the collapsing moment without anchoring you. Not because you were strong, but because I am unshakable. I am not a foundation that falters with fear. I do not collapse when storms descend. I do not disappear when doubts knock. So let me help you lift up those trembling hands now, not with shame but with praise. Let me help you remember that every time you stood shaking, the fact that you kept standing is proof of my work in you. You did not stay down. You did not give up. Even when your heart pounded, even when tears burned in your throat, you held on. Or at least, you thought you held on. And I held you, even when you didn't believe in your own hold. I was the stronghold under your weakness. I was the shelter in your storm. I was the voice whispering, "Hold on, child, I'm with you." Let me now build you on that foundation. Let my help be the cement in what's been cracked. Let my promises be the stone beneath your feet. Let my presence be the canopy over your fear. So when the wind returns, you will not stagger. So when the ground shakes, you will not fall. Because your foundation is not in circumstances. It is not in your courage. It is in me. When you stood shaking, I was your foundation. And forever, I will be the bedrock beneath your becoming. Let me help you stand now, not by your strength, but by my faithfulness. My beloved child, I know how harsh this season had been. I feel the sting of every disappointment, every hope deferred. I know how your soul has tasted loss too many mornings. You carry the hurt like a cloak, folding it around yourself for safety, thinking if you wrap tightly enough you might forget its shape. But the memory stayed. I've watched you try to stitch your wounds within threads of optimism that kept fraying. You've hidden your pain behind masks, behind your to-do list, behind busyness. Yet in the secrecy of your heart you asked, does this pain ever lead to anything good? Will I ever see sunshine again? And here is my answer to you, yes. I am not just aware of your hurt, I am braiding it with hope. Every tear, every scar, every wound is being woven into a tapestry that tells not only what you lost, but what I am building. I see my artistry in what was once your brokenness. I am taking the frayed ends and binding them with grace. I am lifting the ashes of your days and birthing breath of life again. The hope may seem thin, almost impossible, but my hope is never thin. It is deep, rooted and unshakable. Even in your weakest whisper, I hear my promise. Even when your heart trembles at the memory, I echo a new melody, a new song. From your sorrow I will draw strength. From your silence I will raise a shout. From your broken pieces I will craft glory. Let me light the ember of hope inside your chest. Let me stir it until it blazes. I will braid your hurt with hope so tight that when storms return, the braid holds you instead of binding you. You thought the things that wounded you would define you. They shaped you, yes, but do not let them imprison you. I am a God of transformation. I do not leave you in the ashes. I gather what was torn apart. I gather what was abandoned. I gather what was forgotten. Even when you doubted my nearness, I was gathering. Even when you could not see my hand, I was holding yours. And now, the gathering becomes growth. The dark soil becomes fertile. The places you couldn't walk through, I carried you over. And now you're stepping into a passage you once thought locked. Hope is creeping in. Hope in familiar dreams. Hope in new beginnings. Hope in promise that bends toward you. So lean into me. Let me braid your hurt with hope. Let me weave my promises through the threads of your pain. Don't push the hurt away, hand it to me. Don't silence your sorrow. Let me sanctify it. What you've endured will not be wasted. It is becoming a signpost for others who fear their pain is permanent. In a braid of hurt and hope, you will carry both authenticity and authority. And in that weaving, my glory shows up, not as a mask, but as the healed you, stronger than before, more compassionate, more courageous. Let me weave. Let me restore. Let me help you step forward, not just as someone who survived, but someone who carries hope. My precious one, I know there are chains around your ankles and chains of past shame, chains of regret, chains of fear, chains of disappointment. Some you see, many invisible, but all binding in ways you can't always name. Maybe you feel them pull you back when you try to advance. Maybe they whisper in moments of rest that you still carry too much, that you still owe something, that you're still defined by what was against you. But hear me. The help I bring today breaks every chain you believed would bind you forever. I come bearing the power to break, to loose, to liberate, first in your heart, then in your life. Chains tremble when my voice speaks. Shackles are undone before I finish calling your name. I know the particular chains that have circled you. Maybe comparison, maybe regret, maybe pride, maybe pain unspeakable. Some chains are forged by others, some by decisions made in desperation, some by secrets long hidden, some by lies you swallowed whole, believing they were your identity. But child, I did not deliver you just so you could learn to live with chains. You were born to live in freedom. The struggle was never meant to be your permanent posture. The prison was never my design for you. So I am coming, my hand strong, my voice steady, to shatter those chains. Not with your strength, but with my power. Not by your performance, but by my presence. You feel that trembling beneath your spirit. That stir of possibility. That whisper of courage. That is me breathing life into the places you thought were lost. That is the beginning of chain break. You do not have to earn this freedom. You do not have to be perfect to be released. I look at your scars. Your scars do not scare me. They declare my deliverance. I look at your chains. Your chains do not detain me. They provoke my power. So let me help you pull apart the grips of those chains, one by one. The shame, the guilt, the fear, the identity of being less than. Let them break, let them fall. And when they do, you will stand taller, not because of pride, but because of promise. So now, place your hands loosely at your sides. Feel your weight shift. Feel the burden lift, even just a little. Close your eyes if you must. Let me carry you where your strength fails. Let my help flood in and unravel what you've bound yourself into. Do not be afraid of the sound of breaking, for the sound of breaking often signals breakthrough. The chain that clamped your voice, your worth, your hope will break. The place that held you down will become the platform from which you will walk free. This is not simply help, it's deliverance. This is not just relief, it's resurrection. Let me help you step into freedom. My beloved child, I know how many mornings you woke up feeling spent. I know how many nights you whispered prayers through trembling lips because your strength was exhausted, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You carried more than you seemed able to, held burdens no one else saw, walked pathways you were never asked to walk, and you wonder if you've been worn too thin for restoration. But hear me now. I am renewing your strength in every place you felt powerless. Where you could do no more, I will do more through you. Where your arms failed, my arms carry. Where your hope trembled, my hope ignites. Where your soul despaired, my spirit revives. You thought the emptiness meant abandonment. You misread your fatigue as defeat. You asked, why am I still weak here? Why did this have to stretch me so far? But child, I never designed you to stay in that weak place. I allow seasons of weakness not to break you, but to break open the space for my renewal. In your powerless moments, I reveal my power. In your weakness, I show my strength. I do not rush the healing of the spiritually exhausted heart, but I always come through. I weave Sabbath into your weary rhythm. I whisper rest into your racing thoughts. I restore what the pressures pressed out of you. Do you remember Elijah, fleeing in the wilderness, sitting under the broom tree, feeling like all hope had slipped through his fingers? I sent an angel to feed him. I let him rest. I made him hear my whisper. And in that wilderness, I gave him what he thought he didn't have, strength to keep walking. So it is with you. The collapse you feared is the cradle of your renewal. The place where you nearly gave up is where I will resurrect stamina. I will rail over every limb too tired to rise. I will do what your effort could never accomplish alone. I will be the surge under your spirit, like wind under wings, lifting you again. So let me help you stand strong in vulnerability. Let me patch up the places where your courage cracked. Let me refill your wells with triumph. Let my strength become the song in your throat. Let it become the backbone in your sinews. And when you think you can't take another step, I will be the ground beneath you. When your faith feels invisible, I will show my faithfulness. When your heart is faint, I will breathe courage into it. Because I didn't bring you this far to leave you at the threshold. I'm here to renew you, for all the path ahead. My precious one, I know how familiar your past pain feels. I know how every memory, every disappointment, every betrayal still rings in your ears. You've walked through seasons that tried to define you, seasons that whispered, "This is all you'll ever be." You have watched dreams collapse. You have felt doors shut. And sometimes in the quiet, you've wondered, is this what the rest of my life will look like? But hear me now with urgency and love. Your future is far more majestic than the pain you have known. Pain is not your final chapter. What you've been through is not the sum of who you are becoming. What awaits you is glorious, sovereign, beyond what your imagination can contain. You are not condemned to a life defined by scars. I see beyond what the world sees. I see the beauty rising from what was torn apart. I see purpose birthed in places of destruction. I see dreams rekindled. I see joy dancing where grief used to sit. I see laughter where tears were once the only language. I see miracles waiting, miracles that will stem from your experience. Not ignore it, not erase it, but use it. Use every tear, every moment of doubt, every broken promise, every healed wound. Use them as fuel for your becoming. Your future is luminous, radiant, not because of what you were spared, but because of what I'll do through you. Do you believe that possibility? Do you believe that hope can overshadow regret? Do you believe that destiny is louder than defeat? Even if your faith falters, my promise does not. Even when your heart trembles, my purpose does not waver. I did not plan for you to be a testimony of what you could not endure. I planned for you to display what could not be extinguished. My love, my power, my faithfulness. Your future will show them all. The lost years will become the backdrop for your breakthrough. The nights you waited alone will become the altar of your worship. The pain that once felt permanent will be the echo that announces your victory. So let me help you step into that future, not with caution, but with courage. Not with fear of what hath been, but with faith in what will be. Let me shadow your every step with hope. Let me saturate your vision with promise. Let me anchor your heart in what is to come. Do not shrink back. Do not settle for survival when I offer thrival. Do not let the weight of old sorrow rob you of what I have for you ahead. Your future is more beautiful than your battle. Your destiny is richer than your disappointments. Walk forward, my child, in the light I cast, in the hope I entrust, in the miracles I am already weaving for you. My beloved child, if you remember nothing else, remember this. This help I offer is personal, because you matter to me. You are not just one among billions, not a number, not a name lost in the crowd. You are not a forgotten prayer or a silent cry swallowed by the wind. You are seen. You are known. You are cherished. The help I extend isn't a generic gesture from a distant God. It is the focused, intentional, handcrafted aid of a father who is hopelessly invested in your heart. I don't help you because I must. I help you because I want to, because I delight in it, because I am committed to your becoming. When you cried in secret, I counted those tears like precious jewels. When you reached out in prayer, even when your words were few and frail, I leaned in like the world stopped spinning just to hear you. When you failed, I never turned away. I moved closer. I do not help from a distance. I carry you close to my chest, like a shepherd lifting his sheep from the cliff's edge, like a mother gathering her child in trembling arms. That is how I help you, personally, tenderly, specifically. You matter to me, not because of what you've done or what you haven't, but because of who you are, because I made you, because you are mine. I'm not offering some vague inspiration. I'm not tossing a vague promise into the sky and leaving you to sort it out. I'm stepping into your exact circumstances. I'm placing my hand on the very thing that has kept you up at night. I'm targeting the fear that's stolen your peace. I'm confronting the lie that said you were disqualified, unworthy, forgotten. My help is not vague. It's surgical, precise, personal. I know your personality. I know your wiring. I know the triggers that haunt you. I know the unspoken needs, the hidden battles, the silent longings you don't even know how to articulate. And I am helping you right there. Let me help you today, not as a God far off, but as your Father, your friend, your comforter. Let me prove to you that my help was never a one-size-fits-all blessing. It was tailor-made. It was timed for this moment. It was reserved for this chapter. Let me walk with you into what comes next, not as a distant power, but as the one who has always been here, from the moment you took your first breath, and even before. My love for you is not theoretical. It is incarnational. It touches ground. It moves mountains. It intervenes. You matter. You matter more than you know. And because you matter to me, my help will never stop. You've walked with me through every line of this message. I told you, this help is personal. Now let me make it powerful through you. When you give today, you become a vessel of my help for someone else. You're not just donating, you're commissioning fire, funding the delivery of divine words into weary hearts. As it is written in Proverbs 11:25, the generous soul shall be made rich. The one who waters will also be watered. What you pour out will return, shaken down and overflowing. This is not just giving, this is kingdom release. So move now. Scroll to the description. Click the link, bless this ministry, and watch what I unleash in your life. Before you go, my child, don't stay silent. Declare it right now in the comments. God, I receive your help. Let it be a prophetic act, a faith-soaked response, a sacred agreement between your heart and mine. Don't just scroll past. I'm inviting you to step into what I've spoken. When you type those words, you're not just commenting, you're activating courage, releasing surrender, igniting the shift. Heaven watches when you move in faith. So respond now, and watch what I do next. Now be still. My child, let us talk, just you and me. I want you to feel my presence right now, in the quiet of this moment. Have you felt it before? A gentle stirring deep inside your spirit, a feeling you cannot quite name. You feel it when you look at the sunrise, when a certain song plays, or in the middle of a busy day when a sudden, unexplainable peace washes over you for just a second. You have tried to dismiss it, to call it something else. But my beloved, that is me. That is the first whisper of my call. I have been calling your name since long before you took your first breath, since before the foundations of this world were laid. Your name was a promise on my lips, a design in my heart. I knew you completely then, and I know you completely now. I know the pressure you are under at your job, the worry that keeps you awake at night about the future, about your family. I see the tension you carry in your shoulders, that knot in your stomach that tightens when you think about your finances or a difficult relationship. That is not from me. The noise of your world is so loud, is it not? The deadlines, the notifications, the endless opinions of others, and the loud voice of your own doubts. It is a constant storm of demands and fears. So you have wondered, where is God in all of this? I am right here. I am the stillness beneath the storm. I am the whisper you can only hear when you intentionally tune out the noise. Look around you. Do you see the way the sunlight filters through the leaves of a tree? That is me, speaking of my light that can break through your darkest moments. Do you hear the persistent song of a bird outside your window, even on a cloudy day? That is me, reminding you to keep singing your song of hope. The vast, silent expanse of the night sky, filled with more stars than you could ever count. That is me, showing you that my plans for you are just as countless, and my peace is just as vast. These are not just random acts of nature. They are my love letters to you, personal messages meant to draw your heart back to me. Learning to hear my voice is not about listening for a clap of thunder. It is about learning to recognize the feeling of home in your own soul. It is the voice that speaks truth when the world offers lies. It is the one that calls you beloved when you feel worthless. It is the peace that settles in your heart when you finally stop striving and just be. Acknowledge me now, my child. That is your first step. You do not need a grand gesture. Just pause. Breathe in deeply, and in the quiet of your own heart, whisper back to me. Simply say, I hear you. Feel the shift. Feel that knot in your stomach begin to loosen. That is the peace that comes when a child finally recognizes their father's voice in a crowded room. This is where your journey truly begins. My child, I see you. I truly see you. I see you in the morning, putting on a brave face for your family, or your colleagues, straightening your shoulders as if the weight upon them is nothing. But I also see you late at night, when the house is quiet and the mask comes off. I see the slump in your posture, the exhaustion in your eyes. The weight is immense, isn't it? It is the burden of expectation from your boss, the unspoken financial pressures that whisper to you when you look at the bills, the emotional weight of caring for everyone else's needs before your own. You carry the heavy cloak of past mistakes, the crushing weight of a secret guilt you believe no one could understand. You feel you have to be the strong one, the one who holds it all together. But my beloved, you were never meant to carry all of that alone. I did not design your heart to withstand that much pressure. Hear me now. I am giving you a divine invitation, a personal command from your Creator. Come to me. Cast it all upon me. You have heard my Son say, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. But you have wondered what that truly means. You fear it is just another task to add to your endless list. Think of it this way. When two oxen are yoked together to plow a field, they share the load. But if one is infinitely stronger, that one bears almost all the weight. When I ask you to take my yoke, I am not asking you to work for me. I am asking you to be yoked with me. I am yoking myself to you. Let me be the strong one. Let me pull the impossible weight of your worries. Your only job is to walk beside me, to stay in step with me. The weight you feel, that crushing, breathless feeling, is the one you are trying to carry in your own strength. My burden is light because I carry it for you. So let's do this together, right now. Pause and visualize each burden. Give it a name. That anxiety about your child's future, hand it to me. That fear of failure that paralyzes you at work, place it in my hands. That deep weariness that has settled into your bones, let me take it from you. Your strength is not meant to be limitless. It is in your exhaustion, in the moment you finally admit, I can't do this anymore, that my strength is made perfect in you. It is when you stop trying to hold the world on your shoulders that you create space for my arms to hold you. Now, close your eyes. Picture the cross. It is not just a historical symbol. It is the place of divine exchange. Take that heavy backpack of worries you have been carrying for so long. Unzip it. Take out each burden, one by one. The fear of tomorrow, the anger from yesterday, the disappointment in yourself. Lay them down at the foot of that cross. They are not yours to carry anymore. Leave them there. I have already carried them. Now turn and walk away, feeling the lightness in your spirit, the freedom in your step. This is my rest. It is not just the absence of striving. It is the presence of my supernatural peace. My precious child, I know your heart hurts. I am not speaking of a general sadness. I am speaking of that specific, sharp ache you feel when you are quiet. The sting of betrayal from a friend you trusted. The hollow emptiness a loved one's absence has left behind. The dull, constant ache of feeling rejected or misunderstood. I know the words spoken in anger that still echo in your mind, their sharp edges cutting you anew each time you remember them. Your heart feels like a shattered vase, does it not? You have tried to piece it back together yourself, but the cracks remain, and you fear it will never hold anything beautiful again. You fear that any pressure will cause it to fall apart completely. You have been told that I am close to the brokenhearted, and it is the truest thing you will ever hear. I am not turned away by your brokenness. I am drawn to it. I do not stand at a distance, waiting for you to fix yourself. I come and sit with you in the wreckage, along the scattered shards of your heart. You never grieve alone. When your tears fall in the dead of night, staining your pillow in the darkness, you think no one sees. But I see, and my tears fall with yours. Your sorrow reverberates in my own eternal heart. I am the God who weeps with his children. Bring me the pieces. That is all I ask. Do not try to sort them out or decide which ones are worth saving. Give me all of them. The large, jagged pieces of betrayal, the smaller fragments of disappointment, and even the dust-like slivers of forgotten hurts you think are lost forever. I am the master mender, the divine craftsman, and I do not simply glue you back together. That would leave you fragile. Instead, I take the shattered pieces of your heart into my hands, and with the fire of my refining love, I melt them down. I burn away the impurities, the bitterness, the residue of pain. Then, I forge for you a new heart. It will be stronger than before, more resilient. And what of the scars? My child, in my hands, scars become things of beauty. I will run threads of pure gold through the lines, where the cracks used to be. Your past pain will not be a source of shame but a testament to my healing power, a map of where my grace has touched you most deeply. It will become part of your story, giving you a unique capacity for compassion, a beauty that a never broken heart could never possess. I promise you this. I will take the heart of stone, bruised and hardened by the world to protect itself, and I will give you a heart of flesh, a heart that is alive and soft, capable of feeling and loving and trusting again, a heart that beats in a new rhythm of hope, in perfect time with mine. Let me be the mender of your broken heart. My child, you feel lost. The world around you has gone dim, and you are trying to find your way through a profound darkness. This is not just the absence of sunlight. It is the darkness of depression that drains all color from your world. It is the thick fog of confusion where you cannot see the path forward. It is the terrifying blackness of despair that descends when the doctor gives you a bad report, or when loss leaves you feeling utterly alone and without direction. You feel like you are in a deep, unfamiliar cavern, fumbling along the walls, afraid to take a single step for fear of what you might stumble over, or what might be lurking in the shadows. You are looking for a floodlight, something to illuminate the entire cave and show you the way out. But my light often comes differently. I am the lamp under your feet. Think about that. The lamp for your feet does not light up the whole journey ahead. It gives you just enough light for the very next step. That is all you need right now. Do not be overwhelmed by the miles of darkness you imagine stretch before you. Just look down at your feet. I have already placed a small, steady circle of light there. Trust me. Take that one step into the light. And when you do, I will move the lamp forward, illuminating the next step, and then the next. The shadows whisper lies to you in the darkness, do they not? They tell you that you are all alone. They insist that this night will last forever, that the sun will never rise again for you. They magnify your fears and minimize your faith. I am here to tell you that the shadows are liars. I am the morning star, the unfailing promise that the dawn is coming. Darkness is powerful, but it is not sovereign. It cannot create. It can only occupy empty space. And it will not, overcome my light. The moment I step into your darkness, the darkness must flee. It has no choice. My very presence eradicates it. So how do you invite my presence in? You speak my truth. Open my word. It is your flashlight in the cavern. Every promise you read is a powerful beam of light that cuts through the suffocating fog. When fear closes in, speak my name, Jesus. There is power in that name to make the shadows shrink back into the corners. My command to you is this. Stop staring into the vastness of the darkness around you and start focusing on the small, steady flame of my presence with you. I am here. You are not alone. Even in this valley of shadow, you have nothing to fear, for I am with you. My light is your guide, your comfort, and your unshakable hope. Take the next step. I am lighting the way. My child, listen to me. You are trying to run forward, but you are not getting very far. You feel stuck, exhausted, held back by an invisible force. It is because you are dragging a heavy chain behind you, a weight you have grown so accustomed to that you hardly notice it anymore, except for the ache in your soul. Look closely at that chain. Each link has a word etched into it. One says regret. Another says shame. There are links for every what if and every if only. There is a heavy link for that one mistake you replay in your mind over and over. The one you believe has defined you. You can still hear the critical words someone spoke over you years ago. They form another link, clanking against the others. You see the patterns of brokenness from your family, the anger or the anxiety that was passed down, and you fear you are doomed to repeat them. That fear is the heaviest link of all. You believe this chain is your story. You believe it is who you are. But I am here to tell you a truth so liberating it will shatter the chain forever. Your identity is not in your history. It is in me. When I look at you, I do not see your past. I do not see the mistakes, the failures, or the wounds. I see my child, robed in righteousness, washed clean by the selfless act of my Son. The courtroom of heaven has already met, the price has been paid, and the verdict has been declared over you, not guilty, forgiven. Mine. It is time you stop putting yourself back on trial for a crime I no longer remember. I have come to do more than just forgive your past. I have come to unlock its chains from your present. Through my son, I have become the chain breaker. The curses and dysfunctions that have run through your family for generations, they can stop with you. You are not destined to repeat the failures of the past. By my power, you can establish a new legacy of freedom and grace. So let's do this now. In your mind, see me standing before you, holding out a key. This key is forged from grace and it shines with mercy. I am giving it to you. Now, I want you to take it, turn around, and face that heavy chain. Stoop down and find the shackle locked around your ankle. Fit the key into the lock. Do you hear the definitive click as it turns? Now, pull the pin. Let the shackle fall open. Stand up and watch as that entire, heavy chain of your past crashes to the ground with a final, deafening clang. It is done. It is finished. Now, I have one instruction for you. Turn around, take my hand, and walk forward. Do not look back. Do not try to pick it up again. Your transgressions I have cast into the deepest part of the sea, and I have put up a sign that says, "No fishing." Walk with me, my child. Walk into the glorious freedom that has always been yours. My child, we have only just begun to clear the wreckage of your past. To turn away now would be to leave my heart half-spoken and your healing dangerously incomplete. It would grieve my spirit to see you walk away from the very help you have cried out for, content with a cleared field when I long to build you a fortress. Stay with me, there is so much more I must give you. My beloved, your mind is exhausted. It feels like a hopelessly tangled ball of yarn, does it not? There are 100 different threads. Threads of anxiety about the future. Threads of advice from well-meaning people. Threads of your own desires. Threads of what you think you should do. All of them are pulled into a tight, impossible knot of confusion. You lie awake at night, tracing one thread and then another, trying to find a way through the mess. You are paralyzed by the what-ifs. You make a decision, then immediately you are assaulted by a wave of second-guessing. This frantic energy, this mental static that leaves you drained and uncertain. I want you to know, with absolute clarity, that this is not my voice. I am not the author of confusion. That is the enemy's signature, his calling card. My signature is peace. That whirlwind in your head is a storm fueled by the winds of fear and the world's relentless pressures. You feel it now, even as you listen. That frantic spinning. Let's calm that storm together. I am not asking you to figure it out. I am asking you to be still. Here is what I want you to do. Imagine all your jumbled thoughts and worries are like dirt and sediment swirling in a glass jar of water. In your panic, you keep shaking the jar, desperately trying to see through the murky chaos, hoping to find a clear answer. But the more you shake it, the cloudier it becomes. Stop shaking the jar. Just stop. Take a deep breath, and in your mind, set that jar down gently in my presence. Now, just watch. Be still and watch. See how, in the stillness, the heavy particles of worry and fear begin to slowly drift and settle to the bottom. See how the water begins to clear. My wisdom, my clear and simple guidance, is found in that clarity, not in the frantic shaking. You will never find my peace by thinking harder. You will find it by surrendering your thoughts to me. Stop trying to untangle the knot of your problems. The more you pull and tug at it, the tighter it becomes. Instead, hand the entire tangled mess to me. I am the one who can see the beginning and the end of every thread. I can gently work it loose, unraveling the confusion strand by strand, until what was once a knot becomes a straight path. Quiet your mind. Turn off the noise of the world. Then, ask me one simple question. Father, what is the next right thing for me to do? Do not ask me to show you the whole 10-year plan. Just ask for the next step. And then, listen. My voice is not in the earthquake or the fire. It is the still, small whisper that brings peace to your soul. I see the whole tapestry of your life, woven together in a beautiful design. You are seeing only a few tangled threads on the back. Trust my perspective. I have given you a sound mind. Let me help you find it. My child, you must understand that your struggle is not always what it seems. You feel the conflict, the pressure, the sudden wave of discouragement that crashes over you when you least expect it. You experience the sharp, specific temptation that arises out of nowhere, targeting your weakest point. You hear that nagging, internal voice of the accuser, the one that whispers all your past failures and present insecurities, telling you that you are not good enough, that you will never change. You see strife erupt in your family over the smallest thing, a sudden fire of anger that seems to have no source. You think the battle is against your difficult coworker, your distant spouse, or your own frustrating limitations. But listen to me, my beloved. Your fight is not against flesh and blood. There is an unseen reality, a spiritual warfare that rages for the territory of your heart and your peace. You feel under attack because you are under attack. It is real. Do not be naive and ignore it, but equally, do not be afraid. The battle is real, but so am I, your commander. And I have never, not once, lost a war. You have been trying to fight on your own, to reason with the darkness, to argue with the accuser. You have been trying to stand on the front lines, and you are growing weary. I am commanding you now, stand behind me. Let your king go before you. Let me take the brunt of the assault. My back is broad enough to shield you from every attack. Your job is not to fight for victory that has already been accomplished at the cross. Your job is to stand firm from a place of victory. I have given you armor, not for decoration, but for daily use. Let's make this practical. The belt of truth is not some abstract idea. It is consciously wrapping the reality of my word around the core of who you are, especially when your feelings are screaming lies at you. The breastplate of righteousness is not your own goodness. That would be as effective as paper against a sword. It is the righteousness of my Son, a gift you receive that protects your heart from condemnation. The shield of faith is not about pretending you have no doubts. It is the active choice to lift your trust in me and my promises, using it to extinguish the flaming arrows of fear, anxiety, and lies that the enemy shoots at you. And the sword of the Spirit, my word, is your only offensive weapon. When the lies come, you do not fight them with your own logic. You fight them by speaking my truth aloud. When the accuser whispers, "You are a failure," you speak my word. I am a new creation in Christ. There is shattering power when you speak the name of my Son, Jesus. It is not a magic charm. It is the name of the reigning King, before whom all darkness must bow. And you are never standing alone on this battlefield. I have commanded my angels, a heavenly host you cannot see, to have charge over you, to guard you in all your ways. So rest, my warrior. The ultimate victory is not in question. It is already secured. Stand firm behind me, your shield, and watch the salvation of your God. My child, you are thirsty. There is a deep, persistent dryness in your soul, an ache for something more. You have tried to quench it, have you not? You reach for your phone, scrolling endlessly through the lives of others, hoping to find a drop of connection or distraction. You lose yourself for hours in television shows, immersing yourself in fictional worlds because your own feels so lacking. You chase after the next achievement at work, the next purchase, the next compliment, thinking, this will be the thing that finally satisfies me. You drink from the cups of human approval, fleeting pleasures, and material possessions, but you find that these cups are not just broken, they are empty. You take a drink, and for a moment, the thirst seems to subside. But then it returns, more intense than before, leaving you feeling drier and more hollow. You are caught in a cycle of desperate thirst and momentary, unsatisfying relief. I want you to understand what is happening. The world is offering you salt water. It looks like water. It is wet like water, and it promises to quench your thirst. But every sip you take only dehydrates you further, increasing the very craving it promised to end. The emptiness inside you was created by me and for me. It is a sacred space that no earthly thing can ever fill. You were created to be in communion with me, and your soul will remain perpetually thirsty until you come to the one true source of living water. I am that source. I am the artesian well that never runs dry, the pure, clean spring that flows from the throne of heaven. The water I offer is radically different. It does not just wet your lips for a moment. When you drink of me, I become a spring of water inside of you, welling up, constantly refreshing and satisfying the deepest parts of your being. So come to me. The invitation is simple. You do not need to bring a fancy cup or earn the right to drink. You only need to bring one thing, your thirst. Acknowledge the dryness. Admit that the salt water of the world has left you empty. Then, come and drink. And it is not complicated. Open my word, not as a textbook to be studied, but as a cool stream to immerse your soul in. Let my promises saturate the dry, cracked ground of your heart until it becomes soft and fertile again. Come and sit in my presence, even for just 5 minutes. Do not speak. Do not ask for anything. Simply be still and let my peace be the gentle rain that soaks your weary spirit. This is drinking. It is an intentional turning away from the world's empty wells and turning toward me. I make you this promise, my child, a promise that has never been broken. Whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty again. The anxious chase will end. The constant craving for more will cease. In its place will be a deep, abiding satisfaction that will refresh and sustain you, no matter how dry the circumstances around you may be. Come, all you who are thirsty, and drink. My child, I know you feel like your boat is about to capsize. The storm came out of nowhere, did it not? Just yesterday, it seems the sun was shining and the sea was calm. Now, without warning, the winds of circumstance are howling around you. A frightening report from the doctor, a sudden job loss, a relationship that is unexpectedly falling apart, a child who is heading down a dangerous path. These are the storms of life. The waves of fear and uncertainty are crashing over the side of your small boat, filling it with panic. You feel completely out of control, tossed about by forces far greater than yourself. You have been bailing water as fast as you can, trying to keep things afloat, and you are exhausted. In your fear, you have been screaming my name, looking around frantically, wondering if I am asleep in the back of the boat, oblivious to your terror. Let me reassure you, my beloved. I am here. I have been in the boat with you the entire time. The storm did not take me by surprise. It did not cancel my plan or diminish my power. And I am not, nor have I ever been, asleep. I am fully aware of the wind, the waves, and the fear that is gripping your heart. I am allowing this storm not to destroy you, but to teach you something vital. I want to teach you where to fix your gaze. You have been looking at the size of the waves, and they are terrifying. You have been listening to the roar of the wind, and it is deafening. I am calling you now to look away from the storm, and to look at me. Your faith is your anchor in this chaos. But an anchor is useless if it is just lying on the deck of the boat. You have to cast it out, beyond the turmoil of the surface, and let it catch hold of something solid, something unmovable. I am your solid rock, the unshakable ground beneath the raging sea. Let the anchor of your faith sink deep into my character, into my unchanging promises. While the waves crash around you, I want you to listen for my voice. It may be quiet, but it is more powerful than the roar of the wind. Hear me speak over your personal storm the very same words I spoke over the Sea of Galilee. Peace, be still. I am speaking the command not just to the circumstances around you, but to the churning tempest inside your own soul. Let my peace anchor your heart. This storm, as terrifying as it is, serves a purpose. It reveals what your faith is truly anchored to. And it is an opportunity for you to witness my power in a way you never could on a calm sea. Trust me, the master of the seas. I will not let you drown. I am steering your boat through the waves, and I will guide you safely to the shore. My child, let's talk about the worry that consumes so much of your energy. It is the fear of not enough. You look at your bank account. You look at the pile of bills. You think about the future, and a cold dread washes over you. Your mind becomes a frantic calculator, constantly trying to solve an impossible equation where the expenses always seem to be greater than the income. You lie awake at night, running the numbers, trying to figure out how you will make it through. This is what it feels like to live with a mindset of scarcity. It is the mindset of an orphan, one who believes they are utterly alone and that their survival depends entirely on their own frantic efforts. But you are not an orphan. You are my child, and your Father is the King of the universe. I am asking you today to let me help you change your perspective, to move from the orphan's mindset of scarcity to the beloved child's mindset of abundance. A child in a loving home does not spend their days worrying about where their next meal will come from, or if the lights will stay on. They simply trust their Father to provide. I am your Father, and I am a far better provider than you can possibly imagine. I want you to understand a fundamental truth. I am your source. Not your job, not your investments, not your own cleverness. They are merely channels that I can use, but I am the infinite source from which all provision flows. Everything you see and everything you do not see belongs to me. The cattle on 1,000 hills are mine. All the silver and gold are mine. I do not operate on a limited budget. Now, I want you to do something very practical. Go to a window and look outside. You see the birds. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns. They do not have bank accounts or retirement plans. Yet I feed them every single day. Now look at the wildflowers, or even the weeds growing in the crack of the sidewalk. They do not toil or spin threads. Yet I clothe them in a splendor that surpasses that of the wealthiest king. Listen to me, my child. You are created in my very own image. You are infinitely more valuable to me than the birds and the flowers. If I faithfully and lavishly take care of them, how much more will I take care of you, my treasured possession? The problem is not with my ability to give, but often with your ability to receive. You have been clenching your fists, trying to hold on tightly to the little you think you have, fearing you will lose it. But you cannot receive a new gift from me if your fists are clenched. Right now, I want you to physically open your hands. Turn your palms upward. It is an act of trust, a posture of surrender and receiving. Tell me, Father, I trust you to be my provider. My provision may not always come in the way you expect. It may come through a new idea, a restored relationship, a sudden opportunity, or the kindness of a stranger. But I promise you, it will come. Trust me for your daily bread, and you will find that your Father's storehouse never runs empty. Beloved, do you feel that peace settling in? This is but a taste of the security I offer. It would wound me deeply to see you satisfied with the porch when I have prepared a mansion for your soul. The deepest healing for your relationships and the breaking of your oldest fears is just ahead. Do not dishonor my sacrifice by being content with a partial miracle. Continue with me, my child, as you receive my promise of provision. If your heart now burns to become a channel of my supply, this is your divine appointment. There are souls in a spiritual wilderness crying out to me for manna, and this message is the bread I am sending. Your gift is the very seed that I will multiply into a harvest of hope for the lost. I declare over you my living word, give, and it shall be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. For every seed of faith you sow into this ministry, I will command a river of my abundance to flow back to you. Now, obey the stirring in your spirit. Act on this moment and become my provision for another. My precious child, I see the pain in your relationships. I see the invisible wall that has risen between you and your spouse, a wall built brick by brick with unspoken resentments and careless words. I see the painful distance between you and a parent, or you and your child, where love is still present but is trapped behind years of misunderstanding. I feel the awkward silence with a friend after a disagreement, a silence that grows louder every day. These broken connections are some of the deepest wounds you carry. The space between you and the one you love can feel like a vast, uncrossable canyon. You have tried to fix it yourself, have you not? You have tried to explain your side, to defend your actions, to will the other person to understand. But you find you are just talking past each other, making the canyon wider, the wounds deeper. You cannot heal these relationships with the same thinking that broke them. You have tried, and you are exhausted and heartbroken. I am asking you to stop. Stop striving. Stop trying to force a resolution. Instead, I want you to do something radical. I want you to invite me to stand in the middle of that brokenness, in the very center of that canyon of silence. Let me be the mediator. Let me be the bridge. The path to healing begins with a step you may feel is impossible. You are waiting for them to see their fault, to come to you, to apologize. But I am asking you to be the first to move by forgiving them in your heart. Listen carefully. Forgiveness is not telling the other person that what they did was okay. It was not okay. Forgiveness is not forgetting the pain. It is a conscious decision by you to say, I will no longer allow what you did to have power over my heart. I release you from the debt I believe you owe me. It is you handing me the gavel, giving me the right to be the judge, so that you can be free from the prison of bitterness. It is the key that unlocks your own chains, and you cannot love them with your own limited human love. It hath been stretched too thin. It has run out. I am asking you to love them with my love. Let my supernatural, unconditional love, the same love that forgave you, flow through you to them. You become the channel, not the source. You don't have to feel loving. You just have to be willing to be a conduit for my love. Bring me the shattered pieces of your family history, the generational wounds that have been passed down. I can heal what seems irreparable. I can restore connections you thought were lost forever. But it must all be built on a new foundation. Surrender your relationships to me. Allow me to rebuild them on the firm foundation of my principles, of mercy, grace, truth, and unconditional love. It is a process, but it begins today, with your willingness to let me be the healer. My child, let us speak of the giants in your life. I am not speaking of mythical creatures, but of the very real fears that tower over you, casting a cold shadow on your days. You know their names. For you, it may be the giant of financial insecurity, a monstrous figure that taunts you with numbers and whispers of not enough. It might be the giant of public speaking, which paralyzes you and steals your voice. Perhaps it is the giant of chronic illness, of social anxiety, or the relentless, bullying giant of what will other people think. You see this giant, and your immediate reaction is to feel small, weak, and utterly defenseless. Your heart begins to pound, your palms sweat, and every instinct in you screams to run and hide. You have been living in the shadow of this giant for a very long time, arranging your life to avoid it, allowing it to dictate where you can and cannot go. You believe the giant is strong and you are weak, and that this is simply your reality. But that is a lie the giant wants you to believe. I am commanding you today to change your perspective. Stop staring at the overwhelming size of your giant and start looking at the limitless size of your God. You have been preparing to fight this battle in your own strength, with your own limited resources, and of course you are terrified. But I am not asking you to fight alone. I am asking you to let me fight through you. I am not asking you to be fearless. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even when you are afraid. I am asking you to fear less, by trusting me more. Remember the other giants I have already helped you slay. You recall that season of despair when you were certain you would not make it, but I made a way through the wilderness. You remember that impossible deadline, that broken relationship, that moment of utter weakness where my strength showed up for you. Those are not just past memories. They are stones for your present battle. Your history with me is your training ground. You feel you have no weapons against this towering foe. What you do, like the shepherd boy David, you have a slingshot of faith and a pouch full of smooth stones. Let us look at these stones. The first stone is a specific, written promise from my word that directly contradicts what your giant is screaming at you. Find it. Hold it. The second stone is a memory of my past faithfulness, a time I came through for you. The third is the unshakable truth of who you are in me, my chosen, beloved, and empowered child, not a victim. The fourth is a word of praise, an act of defiance that shifts your focus from the intimidating giant to your all-powerful God. And the fifth stone is the name above all names, the name of my Son, Jesus. These are not mere pebbles, my child. These are giant-slaying weapons. I have not given you a spirit of fear. That is not from me. I have given you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound, calm mind. It is time to walk in that boldness. Pick up your stone, face your giant, and know that the battle is not yours, but mine. My beloved, I must speak to the cold ache of loneliness that settles deep within you. It is a unique kind of pain, a hollow feeling that can find you even in a crowded room. It is the isolation you feel when you believe no one truly understands what you are going through. It is the quiet of an empty house, the ache of an empty chair at the table. It is the loneliness of a leader who carries burdens they cannot share, or the loneliness of being misunderstood by the very people you long to be closest to. You scroll through images of smiling families and happy couples, and the heavy blanket of loneliness feels even more suffocating. You feel unseen, unheard, and at times completely forgotten. The world moves on, dizzy and loud, and you feel like a ghost within it, present but not truly connected. This feeling, this deep sense of being utterly alone, is one of the enemy's most painful and effective lies. And I have come today to shatter that lie with the unbreakable truth of my promise. I want you to hear these words not just with your ears, but with the deepest part of your spirit. Let them be the anchor that holds you. You are not alone. This is not a comforting sentiment or a hopeful wish. It is an eternal, unshakable, and absolute reality. I have engraved a promise into the fabric of creation, a promise I have made directly to you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. There is no place you can go where I am not. There is no depth of despair so deep that I am not there with you. There is no valley of grief so dark that my presence does not permeate the shadows. When you feel forgotten by everyone, I'm remembering you. When you feel unseen, my gaze is fixed upon you with a love so intense it holds the stars in place. You have been looking for companionship, for a kindred spirit who understands. I am that friend. The scriptures say I am a friend who sticks closer than a brother, and it is true. I invite you to cultivate my companionship. Talk to me. Not just informal, rehearsed prayers, but talk to me as you drive your car. Tell me about the person who frustrated you. Tell me about the small joy that made you smile. Invite me into the mundane, ordinary moments of your life. That is where true friendship is built. The deep void of loneliness you feel was created for a purpose. It is a God-shaped space within you that only I can perfectly fill. Trying to fill it with a person, a job, or an experience is like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It will never quite fit, and it will leave the edges empty. Let me fill that void. Let my boundless love be the companionship you crave. And know this, even when you cannot see or feel it, you are surrounded. A great cloud of witnesses, a heavenly host, is on your side. You are never, ever, truly alone. My child, I have been listening to the song of your heart, and I know that for a long season, it has been a lament. The melody is one of grief, the rhythm is heavy with weariness, and the lyrics speak of loss, pain, and confusion. It is a song of mourning, and it plays on a loop in your quiet moments. You look at others who are singing songs of joy and praise, and it feels like a foreign language. You cannot imagine ever singing that way again. The joy feels distant, even impossible. You fear that this sad, mournful tune is now the permanent soundtrack of your life. I hear your sorrow, and I do not turn away from it. I am not asking you to deny your pain or to put on a plastic smile and pretend everything is fine. Your tears are a form of prayer that I understand perfectly. But I am here today to make you a divine promise, a promise of melodic transformation. I will turn your mourning into dancing. I will take off your clothes of sorrow and clothe you with joy. I will give you a crown of beauty in place of your ashes, the oil of joy instead of your tears. This is not a denial of your painful past, but a powerful declaration that your pain will not have the final word. Your story does not end in this valley of weeping. I am going to do something miraculous. I am going to take the very trial that is causing you this immense grief, and I will redeem it. I will transform it into your most powerful and resonant testimony. The story of your greatest pain will become the very platform from which you will share the story of my greatest grace and faithfulness. The place of your deepest wound will become the source of your greatest strength and compassion for others. But this transformation requires your participation. It begins with a sacrifice of praise. Praise is not a feeling, it is a choice. It is a weapon of faith. When you are in the deepest, darkest part of the valley, when every feeling in you wants to complain and despair, I want you to make a choice to lift your voice to me. You will not feel like it. Your heart will protest. Do it anyway. It is an act of war against the darkness. Start small. Thank me for the breath in your lungs. Thank me for the roof over your head. Thank me for one good memory. This deliberate act of praise, this sacrifice, is what begins to shift your perspective. It takes your eyes off the towering, intimidating mountains of your problems and places them firmly on me, the God who moves mountains. As you do this, something supernatural begins to happen. I begin to put a new song in your mouth. The old, sorrowful lament begins to fade. A new melody of hope begins to rise. It may start as a quiet hum, but it will grow into a hymn of praise to your God. Many will see what I have done for you. They will hear your new song, and it will cause them to put their trust in me. You will become a living, breathing testament to my redemptive, transforming power. My child, you are searching. You are asking the great questions that echo in every human heart. Why am I here? What is the point of my life? What am I meant to do? You have been chasing the world's answers to these questions. You have pursued success as the world defines it. The job title, the salary, the recognition, the bigger house. You have worked hard. You have striven. You have climbed the ladder, believing that at the top, you would finally find a sense of meaning and fulfillment. But perhaps you have discovered a hollow truth. The higher you climb that ladder, the emptier the view can sometimes be. You achieve a goal, and the satisfaction is fleeting, quickly replaced by the need to strive for the next thing. This endless, exhausting chase leaves you wondering if there is more to life than this. I am here to tell you with all the love in my heart that there is so much more. You have been looking for your purpose in the wrong places. Let me simplify it for you. Let me clear away the clutter and give you the foundational truth. Your ultimate purpose is not a what. It is not a job title, a role, or a list of accomplishments. Your primary purpose is a who. It is to know me, your Creator, and to make me known through your life. That is it. Everything else, your career, your family, your gifts, your passions, is secondary, and finds its true meaning only when it is flowing from that central, primary purpose. You are not a cosmic accident, a random collection of cells. The scripture says you are my workmanship, a masterpiece created in Christ Jesus for good works, which I prepared in advance for you to do. Ponder that for a moment. Long before you existed, I was thinking of you. I designed a specific set of good works for your life, and then I designed you with the precise combination of gifts, talents, personality, and experiences needed to accomplish them. Your passions, the things that make your heart come alive, are not random. They are clues to the purpose I have placed within you. You have been separating your life into boxes, the sacred box for church and prayer, and the secular box for your work and daily life. I want you to tear down those boxes. It is all sacred. Your daily work is one of the primary places I have called you to fulfill your purpose. Whether you are an accountant, a teacher, a construction worker, a doctor, or a stay-at-home parent, your work can be a profound act of worship. When you perform your tasks with integrity, excellence, creativity, and a heart to serve others, you are reflecting my character to the world. You are making me known. The way you speak to a customer, the way you show patience with a difficult child, the way you handle a business dealing with honesty, that is your purpose in action. I invite you to stop striving for worldly success and start living for eternal significance. Surrender your daily life to me. Before your feet hit the floor in the morning, offer your day, your work, your interactions to me. Ask me to use you. When you begin to live from this place of surrendered purpose, you will find a deep, abiding joy and fulfillment that the world's empty promises of success can never, ever provide. Your spirit is soaring with this new sense of purpose, and this brings me unspeakable joy. But my heart would ache if you took this new psalm, only to have it silenced when your faith is tested. I must now teach you how to stand firm when you feel like falling. To abandon this lesson would be to forsake the very wisdom needed to protect the gifts I have just given you. I implore you, stay and let me make you unshakable. My beloved, let's be honest with each other. Your faith, which once felt like a solid rock beneath your feet, now feels more like shifting sand. It has begun to falter. A nagging doubt has crept into your heart, and it is growing. Perhaps it is an unanswered prayer, a deep longing you have brought to me for years that remains unfulfilled, and you have started to wonder if I am even listening. Maybe you are looking at the immense suffering in the world, or in your own life, and you cannot reconcile it with a loving God. Or perhaps the logical arguments of a skeptical world have started to chip away at your beliefs. You see hypocrisy in those who claim to follow me, and it makes you question everything. You feel like a fraud, singing songs of praise on the outside while a storm of questions and doubts rages on the inside. You are afraid to admit this to anyone, maybe even to yourself. You believe that to be a person of faith, you must be a person without doubt. This is a burden I want to lift from you right now. Do not be afraid of your doubts. In fact, I invite you to bring them directly to me. I am not a fragile God, threatened by your questions. I am not shocked by your anger or your confusion. I would rather have your raw, messy honesty than your polite, distant pretense. Do you truly think I prefer your polished prayers, where you say all the right things, over your desperate, tearful cry of, God, I'm not sure I believe anymore? Your honesty is an act of faith in itself. It is you trusting me enough to show me the broken and confused parts of your heart. You feel that you are responsible for manufacturing your own faith, for holding it all together through sheer willpower. You are not. I am the author and the perfecter of your faith. I am the one who planted the seed in the first place, and I am the one who will see it through to completion. When you feel you have no faith left, your most powerful prayer can be the simple, honest plea of the desperate father in the scriptures. Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. That prayer moves my heart, because it is real. When your faith is faltering, I want you to do two things. First, remember. Look back at your life, and remember the times I have been faithful. Remember the answered prayers, the moments of provision, the times I carried you when you could not walk. Your memory of my past faithfulness is a powerful anchor in your present storm. Second, do not try to do this alone. I have given you a family of believers for a reason. Find a trusted friend and be honest. Say the words out loud. I'm struggling. Isolation is where doubt grows into unbelief. Community is where it is met with grace and perspective. And most importantly, know this: your feelings are like the weather. They change constantly. My promises, however, are like the bedrock deep beneath the earth. They are eternal and unshakable. Do not build your house on the shifting soil of your feelings. When they are screaming doubt, plant your feet firmly on the unchanging rock of my word and my character. I hold you, even when your grip on me feels weak. My child, you are tired. It is a deep, so level exhaustion, isn't it? You feel as though you are being pulled in 100 different directions at once. The demands of your job follow you home on your phone, buzzing with emails and notifications long after the workday should have ended. Your family needs you, your friends need you, and the endless to-do list of life never gets any shorter. The world is a loud, relentless machine, and it is constantly demanding more from you, more of your time, more of your energy, more of your productivity, more of your attention. You feel like you are being worn down by its gears, and you are terrified that if you stop for even a moment, you will be left behind, or, worse, that everything you are holding together will fall apart. You have been taught that your value comes from your busyness, your productivity. So you keep running, faster and faster, but you feel you are getting nowhere. The peace you long for feels like a distant luxury you can never afford. But this frantic, fragmented, and breathless pace of life is not the life I designed for you. I have not called you to a life of constant, anxious striving. I have called you to a life of peace, lived from a place of divine rest. I am offering you a sanctuary. I am your refuge. This is not a physical place you must travel to. It is a state of being, a secret place in my presence that you can enter at any moment, no matter how chaotic your surroundings are. I am inviting you to come away with me. Even now, in the middle of your day, you can retreat. Think of my presence as a quiet, soundproof room in the center of a noisy, chaotic factory. The world's demands are the deafening roar of the machinery just outside. But I am inviting you to step inside, to close the heavy door of intentional focus behind you, and to experience the profound, restorative quiet. In this stillness, your frayed nerves can heal. Your scattered thoughts can gather. Your spirit can finally take a deep breath. In this quiet, you can hear my voice again. To enter this refuge, you must learn the sacred art of setting boundaries. You must be willing to say no to the good, so you can say yes to the best. This means turning off your phone, closing the laptop, and deliberately choosing to disconnect from the world's noise so you can connect with me. This is not selfish, it is essential. You cannot pour into the lives of others from an empty cup. You must allow me to fill you first. Remember the gift of the Sabbath. It is not an outdated, restrictive rule. It is my loving provision for your weary soul. It is a weekly appointment for you to stop, to cease your work, to rest, and to remember that I am God and you are not. It is a day to trust that the world will not fall apart if you stop holding it up. Find your rest in me, my child. I am your sanctuary, your stronghold, your ever-present help, and your profound peace in the midst of the storm. My child, I know you are waiting, and the waiting is hard. It feels like the most difficult work you have ever done. You have prayed a heartfelt prayer. You have believed for a breakthrough. You have longed for a change in your circumstances, and now you are met with what feels like silence. The waiting stretches from days into weeks, from months into years. You look around and see others receiving the very things you have been praying for: the spouse, the child, the job, the healing. A bitter root of frustration and comparison begins to grow in your heart. You are tempted to believe that I have forgotten you, that your prayer was not good enough, or that perhaps I simply do not care as much about you as I do about others. This season of waiting feels like a punishment, an empty, desolate pause in the story of your life. But I need you to understand a truth that will transform your perspective. Your waiting is not a sign of my absence. It is the very incubator of my presence. I have heard every single prayer. I have collected every tear. I have not forgotten you for a single moment. My timing, however, is not your timing. You see this present moment. I see all of eternity. You see your immediate need. I see how it connects to 1,000 other things in your life and the lives of others. I am never late. I am never early. I am always perfectly on time. I want you to reframe this season. While you believe you are waiting for me, the deeper truth is that I am working in you. This is not an empty pause. It is a holy and necessary training ground. In the waiting, I am teaching you the art of patience and the muscle of trust. I am strengthening your spiritual roots, forcing them to go down deeper to find their water source in me alone, not in your circumstances. If I gave you the blessing you are asking for right now, your character might not be strong enough to carry it. It could cut you. So I wait, and I work, building in you the foundation that will be needed to sustain the blessing when it arrives. Think of yourself as a seed, planted in the dark, rich soil. From your perspective, nothing is happening. It is just dark and quiet, and you feel buried. You long for the warmth of the sun and the light of day. But you must trust that in the darkness, the most crucial part of your growth is taking place. Your roots are forming, establishing a firm grip, building a network to draw in life and sustenance. If I were to bring you into the light too soon, before your roots were deep, you would be scorched and wither away. Trust the work I am doing in the dark. Resist the urge to run ahead of me, to take matters into your own hands. That will only lead to frustration. Instead, practice active waiting. Continue to praise me. Continue to serve others. Continue to trust my promises, even when you see no evidence of them. This is the art of patience, and its fruit is a character that has been forged in the quiet fire of trust, a spirit that is unshakable no matter how long the wait. My beloved child, let us examine the posture of your heart. So often, your mind has a default setting, and that setting is to scan your life for what is wrong, what is missing, what is lacking. You can receive 10 compliments and 1 criticism, and what does your mind latch onto and replay for the rest of the day? A criticism. You can have a table full of food and a roof over your head, but your thoughts are consumed by the one bill you are not sure how to pay. A spirit of complaint comes so easily to the human heart. It can become a low-grade grumbling that provides the background noise for your life, complaining about the weather, the traffic, your health, your family, your job. I want you to see the spirit of complaint for what it truly is. It is a thief. It is a subtle poison that steals your joy, robs you of peace, and, most tragically, blinds you to the constant, steady stream of my goodness and grace in your life. It keeps your focus on the one unanswered prayer, while ignoring the 1,000 prayers I have already answered. But there is a powerful antidote. There is a spiritual discipline that can rewire your heart and transform your entire outlook on life. It is the power of a grateful heart. I am not asking you to be thankful for all circumstances. I am not asking you to thank me for your pain, your loss, or your hardship. That would be dishonest. But I am commanding you, for your own freedom and joy, to learn to be thankful in all circumstances. Here is a profound difference. It is the choice to look beyond the immediate difficulty and find my hand, my provision, my grace, which is always present, even in the darkest of times. I want you to begin a new practice, a new discipline. I want you to become a detective of my goodness, actively searching for evidence of my grace in your daily life. At the end of each day, I want you to speak aloud or write down 3 things you are thankful for. Do not dismiss this as a simple, foolish exercise. It is a powerful act of spiritual warfare. When you begin, it may be difficult. You may only be able to thank me for the breath in your lungs. But as you persist, you will begin to see more. You will thank me for the taste of your morning coffee, for a kind word from a stranger, for the strength to get through a difficult meeting, for the beauty of a sunset. A grateful heart is a powerful weapon. It silences the voice of the accuser. It starves the spirit of despair. It smothers the fire of bitterness. Think of gratitude as the act of opening the windows of your soul. When they are shut tight with complaint and self-pity, no fresh air can get in, and the room becomes stale, dark, and suffocating. But when you make the conscious choice to push open the window of gratitude, my light and the fresh breeze of my spirit can flow in. completely changing the atmosphere of your heart. Gratitude is the soil in which joy grows, and a grateful heart is a magnet for my blessings. He opens your hands and your heart to receive even more of the good gifts I long to give you. My child, you come before me, and a heavy silence falls. The words just will not come. You feel a pressure to perform, to find the right words, to sound spiritual and eloquent. You hear how others pray, with their beautiful, flowing phrases, and you feel utterly inadequate. Your mind feels blank. Or perhaps it is not a blankness you feel, but a storm. The pain in your heart is so deep, the confusion so thick, that you cannot begin to articulate it. All you feel is a silent scream, a deep, aching groan in your spirit. And in these moments, you are tempted to turn away, believing that because you cannot form the words, you cannot pray. You feel you are failing, even in your conversation with me. I want to lean in close and whisper a truth that will set you completely free from this burden. My child, prayer is not a performance. It is not a test of your eloquence. It is not a formal speech you must prepare. It is simply a conversation with your Father. And I am not listening for the perfection of your words. I am listening for the raw honesty of your heart. Some of the most powerful prayers I ever hear contain no words at all. You must understand this. When your sorrow is too deep for words, when you do not know what to ask for or how to ask for it, my Holy Spirit, who lives inside you, is praying on your behalf. He takes the silent groaning of your heart, the ache that has no name, and translates it perfectly before my throne. Your silent, aching heart, offered to me in helpless trust, is one of the most profound and beautiful prayers I ever receive. So let go of the pressure. You do not need a map to talk to me. Just start where you are. If you are tired, tell me, Father, I am so tired. If you are angry, tell me, I am angry about this, and I don't know what to do with it. If you are confused, simply say, I am lost, and I can't see the way forward. Your real, messy, unfiltered feelings are the most welcome prayers in my ears, because they are true. And when you feel you do not have your own words, I have given you a book full of them. Open the Psalms. The psalmists did not hold back. They poured out their anger, their fear, their despair, their questions, and their praise. Their prayers give you a language for your own soul. Pray their words back to me. Make their prayer your own. There is immense power in praying my own word back to me, because you are praying in perfect alignment with my will and my promises. My Son also gave you a beautiful model for prayer. It is not a rigid formula to be recited mindlessly, but a guide. It teaches you to start with praise, to surrender to my will, to ask for your daily needs, to seek forgiveness, and to ask for protection. But above all, it starts with two words, Our Father. That is the heart of all prayer. You are simply my beloved child, coming to talk to your loving Father. That is all it has ever been. You have gathered the tools for the journey, but now we must approach the deepest surgery of the heart. I am your great physician, and nothing pains me more than when a beloved child leaves the healing room before the cancerous root of unforgiveness has been removed. To leave now is to choose to live with the very poison I have come to draw out. Let me finish the work. Do not stop short of your complete healing. You have heard me promise to answer even the prayers you cannot speak, and my heart is moved. Even now, a soul is crying out in silence, their heart too broken to form the words, and your obedience in this moment is the answer I am sending. If you feel my desire to comfort others through you, know that your support makes you the beautiful feet that carry this good news to them. Your gift is the oil that allows this light to continue burning, a well of hope in a dry land for someone who has forgotten how to pray. For every drop of oil you pour out, I will ensure your own lamp never runs dry. Now, become the answer to a prayer. Give as you have been led. My beloved child, I know you are in pain. It might be a physical ailment, a chronic condition that is your constant, unwelcome companion, draining your energy and limiting your life. It could be an emotional wound, the unrelenting torment of anxiety or depression that colors your entire world in shades of gray. Or it may be a spiritual sickness, a heart hardened by bitterness, a faith weakened by apathy, a soul stained by a secret sin. Whatever your ailment, I see it. I know its name. I have felt its impact on your life. The diagnosis from the doctor may echo in your ears, or the pain in your heart may be a silent burden you carry alone. You have prayed for healing. You have cried out to me, and perhaps it feels like your prayers have only hit the ceiling and fallen back to the ground, unanswered. You may see others who have been healed, and the painful question rises in your soul. Why not me, Lord? Have you forgotten me? I want you to hear my heart on this. I am Jehovah Rapha. It is not just my name, it is my nature. I am the Lord who heals you. The power and the desire to make you whole is not just something I do. It is intrinsic to who I am. The ultimate provision for your healing has already been made. By the wounds my Son, Jesus, bore on his back, your healing has been purchased. It is a finished work, a provision of my grace that is available to you. I invite you now to come into my examining room. Do not hide your afflictions from me. Do not pretend you are stronger than you are. Be honest. Show me exactly where it hurts. Point to the pain in your body. Uncover the wound in your heart. Confess the sickness in your soul. Let the gentle light of my presence examine the ailment. Let the truth of my word be the antiseptic that cleanses the wound. Let the soothing balm of my Holy Spirit bring comfort to the ache. And as you do this, you must also surrender to my wisdom as the great physician. My methods are not always the same. Sometimes my healing is instantaneous, miraculous, and undeniable. Sometimes my healing is a gradual process, a journey of recovery that we walk together, day by day. And sometimes, my child, the deepest healing is not the removal of the affliction, but my presence and strength in the affliction. Sometimes I allow a thorn in the flesh, a physical or emotional struggle, to remain for a season in order to accomplish a far deeper and more eternal work in you. An illness can be the very thing that quiets your life enough to finally hear my whisper. It can be the fire that burns away your self-reliance and teaches you the profound peace of depending on me for your every breath. It can be the crucible that refines your faith, making it more pure and precious than gold. My ultimate desire for you is not just recovery, but wholeness, a deep healing of your spirit and soul that transcends your physical circumstances. Trust me, your great physician. I know the ultimate cure, and I am working all things together for your good. My child, there is a name, a face. When you hear the name or see the face in your mind, something inside you clenches. Your stomach tightens, your heart hardens like a stone, and a familiar wave of hot anger or cold bitterness washes over you. What this person did to you was not a simple mistake. It was a deep betrayal, a cruel act, a wound so profound it has altered the landscape of your soul. Your mind, your sense of justice, your very being screams, what they did was unforgivable. They do not deserve my forgiveness. And I am here to tell you something that might surprise you. You are right. Based on the scales of human fairness, they probably do not deserve it. But I am not asking you to forgive them for their sake. I am commending you, with all the love I have for you, to forgive them for yours. You believe that your unforgiveness is a weapon you are wielding against the person who hurt you. You think it is a wall that keeps you safe, a punishment that you are inflicting upon them. But look closer. They are likely living their life, while you are the one trapped in a prison of your own making. Unforgiveness is not a weapon. It is a poison that you drink, hoping the other person will die. It is a heavy, jagged rock of bitterness that you choose to carry in your own backpack every single day, and it is weighing you down, infecting every other area of your life. Forgiveness is the act of you finally saying, "I will not carry this anymore." It is you taking that rock out of your own bag and leaving it at the foot of my cross. It is for your freedom. I know how you have held onto this. You have a mental ledger, and on it, you have meticulously recorded every detail of their offense. You replay the scene over and over, keeping the wound fresh, reminding yourself of the immense debt they owe you. Now, let me gently ask you to look at another ledger. It is the one I once kept of your own debts against me. It was a debt so massive, so impossibly large, that you could never repay it in a million lifetimes. And then, at the cross, I took that ledger, and in the crimson ink of my son's own blood, I wrote across every single page, paid in full. Debt canceled. I am not asking you to do for another what I have not first done for you. I am asking you to give them a small taste of the boundless grace you yourself have received. This is not about your feelings. You will not feel like forgiving them. Your emotions will scream for justice and revenge. Forgiveness is not an emotion. It is a decision. It is an act of your will, empowered by my spirit. It is a choice you must make. You may have to make it again tomorrow morning, and again the next day. It is the conscious decision to say, from your will, "Father, I choose to forgive. I release this person to you. I hand you my right to be angry. I give you the responsibility for justice." You are not letting them off the hook. You are taking them off your hook and placing them onto mine. You are transferring their case from your flawed, emotional court into the high court of heaven. And I am a much more just and righteous judge than you could ever be. Let me handle them. You walk away in the lightness and freedom of mercy. My child, let us look at the inner world of your mind. So often, it feels like an overgrown, neglected garden, does it not? Weeds of fear and anxiety grow in thick patches, their roots twisting around your thoughts and choking your peace. Thorny bushes of negativity and criticism flourish in the corners, scratching at your self-worth. Hidden in the shadows are the creeping vines of impurity and temptation. You have tried to manage it. You have tried to ignore the weeds, hoping they would go away. But they only grow taller, stronger, and more invasive, until the garden of your mind feels like a dark and frightening jungle. You feel powerless, a passive victim to the thoughts that race through your head. But I am here to tell you a revolutionary truth. I have given you the authority and the tools to be the master gardener of your own mind. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the gatekeeper. And the transformation of your life begins with the cultivation of this inner garden. The scripture gives you your primary instruction. Take every thought captive. What does this look like in your daily life? It means you become a vigilant guard standing at the gate of your mind. No thought is allowed to enter without being challenged. When a thought of fear, like "what if I fail?" tries to enter, you do not simply open the gate and let it run wild. You stop it. You take it captive. You challenge it with the truth of my word. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. When a thought of self-condemnation, like "you are so stupid," comes knocking, you refuse it entry. You make it obedient to the truth of Christ by declaring, "I am a new creation, and I am the righteousness of God." This is an active, moment-by-moment process. But you cannot just uproot weeds. If you leave the ground bare, the weeds will grow right back, often stronger than before. You must intentionally plant something good in their place. My word is your seed packet. It is filled with seeds of truth, hope, peace, joy, and love. For every weed of anxiety you uproot, you must deliberately plant a seed of my promises, like you will keep in perfect peace the one whose mind is stayed on you. For every weed of impurity, you must plant seeds of what is pure, lovely, and noble. You must then water these seeds daily by meditating on them, speaking them aloud, and thinking on them purposefully. Remember, your heart is the soil. Everything you allow into your mind, the shows you watch, the music you listen to, the websites you browse, the conversations you engage in, acts as either fertilizer for the good seeds or fertilizer for the weeds. This is why I command you to guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. The garden of your mind will produce the fruit of your life. Let us cultivate it together, from the inside out. My beloved child, you fell. You did the very thing you promised yourself, and promised me, you would never do again. You gave in to the old temptation. You spoke the angry words. You retreated into that familiar pattern of sin. And now, in the aftermath, a tidal wave of shame is washing over you. It is a toxic, paralyzing feeling. The voice of the accuser is screaming in your ear. Is it not? See, I told you, you will never change. You are a complete failure. All that progress you thought you made was a joke. God must be so disappointed in you. He's probably done with you now. The weight of this shame is so heavy that you are tempted to run and hide from me. You want to stay lying in the mud of your mistake because you feel it is where you now belong. You feel you have disqualified yourself from my love. Listen to me very carefully. Stop listening to the voice of the accuser and listen to the voice of your Father. Look at me. Do you see disgust in my eyes? Do you see anger and condemnation? No. You see open arms. You see a look of deep, unconditional love and compassion. Your failure did not take me by surprise. I knew it was going to happen before you did, and my love for you did not waver for a single instant. I want you to burn this truth into your heart. A righteous person is not someone who never falls. A righteous person is someone who gets back up again. My promise to you is that though a righteous man may fall 7 times, he rises again. I will always be there to lift you. My grace for you is not a limited resource, not a bank account that you can overgrow with your mistakes. My grace is an infinite, boundless ocean. Your sin, as dark as it may seem to you, is like a single drop of black ink falling into that vast ocean. It is instantly swallowed up, diluted, and washed away by the sheer volume of my grace. My mercy is not based on your performance yesterday. It is not something you earn. It is a gift, and it is new for you every single morning. When you wake up, your slate from yesterday has been wiped completely clean. So what do you do when you fall? You do not lie there and wallow in shame. That is a form of pride. You immediately get up and repent. Repentance is not a groveling, shameful act of begging. The word simply means to turn around. You were walking away from me, and now you are turning back toward me. It is that simple. It is the path that leads you directly and immediately back into my embrace. Do not stay in the mud. Take my outstretched hand. Let me help you up. Let me wash you clean. Now learn the lesson from your fall, but do not make your home there. Your mistake does not define you. Your identity in me defines you, and that identity is secure. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Not some condemnation, not a little bit. 0. Done. It is finished. Accept my forgiveness, forgive yourself, and let us walk forward together again. My child, trouble has found you. It was not on your schedule. You did not invite it. But suddenly, it has kicked down the door of your peaceful life and is now sitting in your living room, an unwelcome, intimidating guest. It came in the form of a frightening phone call in the middle of the night. It arrived as an unexpected layoff at work, a terrifying diagnosis from a doctor, a betrayal that shattered your world. In an instant, your world has been turned upside down. Your heart is racing, your mind is spinning in a panic, and your first, overwhelming thought is, I am all alone in this. How will I ever survive? You feel vulnerable, exposed, and utterly helpless before this towering problem. Your own strength feels like a tiny, flickering candle in the face of a hurricane. This feeling of helplessness, while terrifying, can be the entry point for my greatest power in your life. As long as you believe you could handle things on your own, you will rely on your own limited resources. But when you are brought to the end of yourself, you are finally in a position to discover the limitless resources of your God. Breathe. Be still for a moment, and hear my promise. I am your ever-present help in times of trouble. I am not a distant God, watching your crisis from afar and hoping you manage to figure it out. I am not a reluctant helper you must beg and plead with. I am ever present. That means I am in the very room with you right now, closer than your next breath, more aware of your situation than you are. I am your fortress, a high, stone tower you can run into and be completely safe from the enemy's assault. I am your deliverer, the one who specializes in rescue operations. I am your stronghold in the day of trouble. My word gives you a direct command with an unbreakable promise. Call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you will honor me. Your part is not to solve the problem. Your part is not to panic. Your part is simply to call. Your very first move, before you do anything else, must be to turn your heart toward me and call out my name. That act of dependent trust unleashes my power on your behalf. You see this trouble as a raging fire that has come to consume you and destroy your life. But I want to give you my perspective. I see this trouble as a refining fire. Gold is not made pure by being gently polished. It is made pure by being placed into the crucible, into the hottest part of the fire. The intense heat burns away all the impurities, all the dross, leaving behind a faith that is pure, strong, and more precious than gold itself. This trouble feels like it is destroying you, but I will use it to burn away your self-reliance, your hidden pride, and your shallow faith. From the ashes of this trouble, a powerful testimony will emerge. Your story of getting through this with me will one day be the source of hope for someone else who is just entering their own fire. Trust me in the crucible. I am with you, and I will not let you be consumed. You feel safe now, wrapped in my ever-present grace, and my soul delights in your security. But do not mistake the refuge for your final destination. I have a destiny for you to seize. It would grieve my heart to see you stand healed and whole, but unwilling to hear the final instructions for your eternal journey. We are so close to the end. Do not forsake the glorious, crowning promise I have saved for last. Let us finish this together. My beloved, you are standing at a crossroads. There is a decision you must make about a career, a move to a new city, a relationship, a major purchase, and you are paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice. The paths before you stretch out into a thick, impenetrable fog, and you cannot see where they lead. The pressure to choose the right path, to perfectly discern my will for your life, is immense and crushing. You are caught in a cycle of analysis and paralysis, What if I choose this job and it's a mistake? What if I move and I'm miserable? What if I choose the wrong person? This terror of making a mistake keeps you stuck, rooted to the spot, unable to move forward at all. You have this image in your mind that my will is like a secret, hidden treasure map, and that if you make one wrong turn, you will fall off a cliff and be forever outside of my perfect plan for you. I want to free you from that stressful and incorrect view of my guidance. My will is not primarily a roadmap you must find. It is a relationship you must cultivate. The primary promise of my guidance is this: acknowledge me in all your ways, and I will make your paths straight. Your responsibility is not to have a perfect, omniscient view of the future. That is my job. Your responsibility is much simpler. It is to acknowledge me. It is to invite me into the process, to surrender the outcome to me, to desire my glory above your own comfort. And you are to do this in all your ways, the big, life-altering decisions and the small, daily choices. I have not left you as an orphan to figure this out alone. I have given you my Holy Spirit to live inside of you as your personal guide. He does not often speak in a booming, audible voice. He speaks in a quiet nudge in your spirit. He speaks through a sense of deep peace that settles over one option, and a subtle feeling of unrest or a check in your spirit about another. To hear his gentle whisper, you must learn to quiet the loud, frantic noise of your own anxious thoughts and the clamor of the world's opinions. My guidance is like driving a car at night through a thick fog. Your headlights only illuminate the next 50 feet of the road. You cannot see your final destination, which may be hundreds of miles away. But you do not need to. You only need to see the 50 feet that are directly in front of you. So you trust, and you drive that 50 feet. And as you move forward, your headlights reveal the next 50 feet, and then the next. This is how I often lead my children. I am not asking you to understand the whole journey. I am just asking you to trust me for the next step. I am the one who opens doors that no man can shut, and I am the one who shuts doors that no man can open. If you are walking with me, and a door you wanted to walk through slams shut in your face, do not waste your time and energy banging on it or trying to pry it open. Trust that I have closed it for your protection and for my purposes. Turn around and look for the door that I am opening instead. The greatest adventure of your life is not in knowing the future, but in walking with me, one obedient, trusting step at a time. My child, let us speak of the restlessness in your soul. It is a constant, low-grade dissatisfaction, a nagging feeling that your life is not quite right, that you are not quite where you should be. You live in a state of if only. If only I had a better job, then I would be content. If only I lived in a bigger house, a different city, then I would have peace. If only I had a different spouse, or more money, or better health, then I could finally be happy. And so you strive, you chase, you grasp for that one thing you believe will finally fill the void. Furthermore, you live in an age where the poison of comparison is delivered to you through a glowing screen. You scroll through the carefully curated highlight reels of other people's lives, their perfect vacations, their beautiful families, their career successes, and a familiar, toxic feeling of discontentment settles into your soul. Your own life, with its messy realities and mundane struggles, seems dull and lacking in comparison. This constant cycle of comparison and striving is the greatest thief of joy in the modern world, and it is keeping you on a treadmill of exhaustion. You achieve one thing, only to find the goalposts have moved, and you must now strive for the next. It is a game you can never win. I want to teach you a secret, my beloved, a profound truth known by the saints and martyrs, a secret that can set you free from this exhausting and fruitless chase. The secret is this: true, deep, Abiding contentment is not found in changing your external circumstances. It is found in changing your internal source. You have been looking for joy in all the wrong places. You have been treating happiness as a fragile butterfly, something that lands on you when circumstances are perfect, only to fly away the moment a cloud appears. I am offering you something far more durable. I am offering you a deep, underground river of joy that flows from my spirit within you. This river is not dependent on the weather of your circumstances. It flows just as strongly in the desert of lack as it does in the pasture of plenty. The Apostle Paul learned this secret. He said he had learned to be content whether living in plenty or in want, whether well-fed or hungry. How? Because his source was not his bank account or his comfort. His source was me. He drew his strength, his joy, and his peace from our unshakable relationship. This is the contentment I offer you. I invite you now to release your white-knuckled grip on your worldly ambitions, your carefully crafted life plans, and your constant comparisons. In an act of faith, I want you to open your hands. Let go of the life you thought you needed in order to be happy. Surrender it to me. When you release your own striving, you create space to receive my provision and my peace. I promise to supply all your needs according to my glorious riches. Notice, I did not promise to supply all your wants or your greeds. I know what you truly need, far better than you do. Trust my sovereign plan. Find your richness not in what you possess, but in the simple reality that you are possessed by me. This is the secret to a peace that surpasses all understanding, the key to finding joy in every circumstance. My child, you have a situation in your life that you have labeled impossible. It is a medical diagnosis the doctors say is final. It is a relationship so shattered by betrayal that it seems beyond all repair. It is a financial debt so massive that it is mathematically insurmountable. In your heart, you have accepted this impossibility as a hard fact. You may still pray about it, but your prayers are tinged with resignation. A part of you has quietly accepted that this is just the way things are. You believe in me, you love me, but you have, perhaps without realizing it, put me in a box. You have relegated my supernatural power to the past, to the pages of your Bible. You believe I was the God who parted the Red Sea, but you do not believe I can part the sea of your troubles. You believe I was the God who healed the blind, but you do not truly believe I can heal your broken body or your broken heart. You have accepted a small, safe, predictable version of me, one that fits within the laws of science and the limits of your own experience. Today, with all the power and love that I possess, I have come to shatter that box. I want you to hear this truth and let it explode in your spirit. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. My character does not change. My power has not diminished or retired. The same God who breathed stars into existence is the same God who is breathing life into your lungs right now. The same God who rolled the stone away from the tomb is the same God who wants to roll away the stone of impossibility from your heart. I am still the God of miracles. I am still the God who makes a way where there seems to be no way. I am not limited by your reality, by your doctor's report, or by your bank statement. I operate in a realm of supernatural possibility that you cannot see. I want to stretch your faith. I want you to begin to expect the unexpected. I want you to look at that impossible situation in your life, not with resignation, but with a holy anticipation, asking, Father, what miracle are you going to do here? Your faith is the key. It is not a barrier to my power. I can work without it, but your faith is the invitation. It is the channel through which my supernatural power flows into your natural circumstances. My son said that with faith as small as a tiny mustard seed, you can speak to the mountain of impossibility in your life and command it to be moved. I also want you to open your eyes to the miracles I am already performing all around you. You are looking for the sea to part, but you are missing the daily, smaller miracles, the coincidence that was too perfect to be anything but my hand, the provision that showed up at just the right moment, the word of encouragement from a friend that felt like it came directly from me. Start to notice and thank me for these. Recognizing the small miracles builds your faith to believe for the larger ones. And never forget the greatest miracle of all, the one that has already happened inside of you, the transformation of your own heart from darkness to light. If I can do that, there is nothing else that is too hard for me. My beloved, your focus has become very small. I see you, and your gaze is fixed firmly on the ground before you. You are consumed by the problems of this day, the worries of this week, the anxieties for this year, the temporary struggles of this world, the difficult job, the painful relationship, the financial pressure, feel so heavy, so permanent, so all-consuming. The grief you feel over a loss is so immense that it blocks out all light. You have, my child, lost your eternal perspective. You have begun to live as if this short, fleeting life is all there is. But I am here today to lift your gaze. I want you to look up from the dust and the troubles at your feet and fix your eyes on the horizon of eternity. This life you are living is not the end of your story. It is merely the first, short, and often difficult chapter in a glorious epic that will never end. You are a citizen of heaven, a child of the King, who is simply on a temporary assignment here on earth. This world is not your home. You are just passing through. Your true home is with me. My son told his disciples, and he is telling you now, I am going to prepare a place for you. I want you to pause and truly let the weight of that promise settle into your soul. The same creative power that spoke galaxies into existence, the same meticulous wisdom that designed the intricacies of a snowflake, is right now, at this very moment, preparing your personal, eternal home. It is a place of perfect joy, where every longing of your heart will be satisfied. It is a place of perfect peace, where the anxieties and fears that plague you now will be a distant memory. It is a place of perfect communion with me, where you will see me face to face. A place there will be no more tears, no more pain, no more sickness, no more death, and no more goodbye. This eternal perspective is not meant to be an escape from your present reality. It is meant to be the unshakable anchor that holds you steady in the storms of your present reality. When you are grieving the loss of a loved one who is with me, the hope of eternity does not erase your tears, but it transforms them with the blessed assurance that your separation is only temporary. When you are enduring suffering, the promise of your future glory does not eliminate your present pain, but it frames it as light and momentary in comparison to the eternal weight of glory that is being prepared for you. This perspective changes everything. It changes what you value. I invite you to start investing in the only things that will last for eternity. The kindness you show, the forgiveness you grant, the love you give away, the people you introduce to me. These are the only treasures you can send ahead to your heavenly account. Treasures that will never rust, never fade, and never be stolen. Live each day with the joyful anticipation of what is to come. This blessed hope is the anchor for your soul, firm and secure, holding you steady until the day I welcome you home. My child, we have walked a long way together in this conversation. I have spoken to you of your burdens, your broken heart, your fears, and your future. I have made you many promises. But even now, after all of this, I know there may be a final, lingering whisper of fear deep in your soul. It is the most fundamental fear of all. It is the fear that you might finally mess up so badly that I will turn my back on you. It is the fear that your faith might fail one too many times. It is the fear that a future trial might be so great or a future temptation so strong that you will wander so far away that you can no longer be found. It is the fear that my love might have a limit, that my grace might have an expiration date, that my help might one day run out. I have saved this final, foundational truth for the end, because I want it to be the last word that echoes in your spirit, the unshakable bedrock upon which you will build the rest of your life. Let me silence that fear now and forever with the greatest and most binding promise in all of creation. Listen to me. I want you to hear this as my personal, unbreakable covenant with you. Nothing, absolutely nothing, can ever separate you from my love. Do you hear me? Not death can do it, nor can life's struggles. No angel, no demon, no power of hell can sever the bond between us. Not your fears about today, nor your worries about tomorrow. Not any height of worldly success that might make you proud, nor any depth of personal failure that might bring you shame. I declare to you that there is nothing in all of creation, seen or unseen, that will ever be able to separate you from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus your Lord. This covenant is sealed in the blood of my Son. It is not dependent on your performance. It is dependent on His perfection. It is not dependent on your ability to hold on to me. It is dependent on my unshakable grip on you. Think of your life as a book. I am the author and the finisher. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I was there with you on page 1 before you were even born. And I will be there with you on the final page when you breathe your last, and on into the eternity that follows. I am with you on every single page in between. The plot may have twists you do not understand and chapters of pain you would never have written for yourself, but you can trust me, the author. The final chapter has already been written, and it is a story of your glorious, eternal victory with me. Therefore, rest in this. My grace will always be your constant supply, sufficient for every single moment of your life. The final victory over sin, death, and darkness has already been won at the cross. The battles you fight now are not for a victory you hope to achieve. They are from a victory that has already been eternally secured. Therefore, go from this place and live in that victory. Love from that victory. Serve from that victory. Do not be afraid. For I, the Lord your God, am with you always, even to the very end of the age. I am your help. I am your God. And you are my cherished child, now and forever. As you rest in my unfailing promise to be your help, a holy fire now burns within you to be my help to another. Do not let this fire die down. Your act of faith right now is a rescue line being thrown to a soul drowning in despair. Through your support, this word becomes a tangible expression of my help, reaching those on the verge of giving up. My promise to you is this: he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed, and I will bless the generous soul. For every life you help me touch, I will post angels at the gates of your own life to guard the blessings that spring forth from the seed. Now, join me in my work. Release your gift and unleash my help into the world. My child, before this moment fades, seal our conversation in the eternal. I have reached out my hand to help you. Now you must reach back and take it. Go to the space below and make your declaration for all of heaven to witness. Father, I let you help me. This is not a mere comment. It is your line in the sand. The moment you choose to stop carrying your burdens alone. As you write it, feel the weight begin to lift, for your surrender is the key that unlocks my supernatural intervention. Your cry is heard, and I am already moving on your behalf. Amen. If you believe in me, your Heavenly Father, then like this video and leave a heartfelt amen in the comments. If you want to stay closer to me, then subscribe to this channel.